Country meets Caulfield for the CF4 Stakes. Group 1 racing and family fun. November 15. Tickets at Ticketek. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Yes, good morning. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall on this Monday. It's the 10th of November. A big hello to you wherever you may be listening on your local SEN Track dial or RSN dial, of course, on the RSN app and SEN app. And we are streaming every day live on the SEN app, our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Of course, all thanks to Bet365. It's never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. What a weekend it was once again, highlighted by one of the greatest days you'll see under any circumstances, I reckon, at Flemington. It was the worst possible day that you could predict for a day at the races. It was cold, it was windy, the rain never stopped, but you didn't stop 60-odd thousand turning up there to Flemington and creating one of the best atmospheres that you'll ever see on a racetrack. It was extraordinary stuff, especially the younger racing fan that turned up. There were soccer chants as Giga Kick and Via Sistina came back to the winner's circle. It was some day there at Flemington, and I think racing's had one hell of a week. It's one of the best weeks I can recall for quite some time following this beautiful sport that we all love. So, it was just terrific to see there at Flemington on Saturday, and I want you to let me know your simply sensational performance of the week and tell me why. And the best one wins a $100 Ribera's Port Melbourne restaurant voucher. Simply sensational. And when we all think that it's come to an end after the Flemington Carnival, think again. It's one of the better CF4 stakes that we've seen, I reckon, on Saturday. I know they've moved it from the autumn to the spring, but I think they've been rewarded with a couple of superstars that will be turning up there on Saturday. In Jimmy Star, who was placed in an Everest, and mighty in victory in the Balding there at his last start, taking on Angel Capital. It was pretty good in an Everest as well and was unlucky, say, in a Sir Rupert Clarke Stakes over the 1400 earlier on in the spring. So that promises to be a sensational race there on Saturday. We had the 5 Diamonds in Sydney. Mickey Gannon will look back at that meeting with us. Of course, Pete Anthonys and David Gately will take a look back at Flemington on Saturday. Pete will also start to look back at Perth there on Saturday as we get set for their carnival. The Pinnacles, I think, starts next week with the Placid Arc. And then we have the Railway Stakes just under 2 weeks from now. Of course, the Great Handicap race over a mile. And then we go to the Winterbottom. Then we go to the Northerly. And then the Gold Rush could be the best race of them all. Lee Jordan from the VRC will join us just after 9. We'll review a big weekend of harness racing, greyhound racing. Plus, we'll start our build up towards that New Zealand Trotting Cup there tomorrow afternoon. We've got Jared Waitley joining us once again for the Monday Means Test as Waitley and Giddy Up come together. Johnny O'Neill and, of course, Wayne Hawkes will be in the studio at 10 o'clock for that. And we'll look back at all of the other major race meetings around the country with Chris Nelson, Mark Clayton from New Zealand. Of course, Mitchie Lewis takes a look back at Adelaide on Saturday. 0499 736 736 to join our conversation. That's 0499 736 736. It's 7 minutes past 8. This was one of the highlights there from Saturday at Flemington.
As they reach the 250, Jolly Star lets down Magic Time and Giga Kick coming through. Libertad scrapping away and Benedetta the outside of the clock tower taking the lead. Magic Time with Giga Kick. Magic Time and Giga Kick. Magic Time draws ahead in front. Giga Kick won't give in. Digs in for the line and wins. Giga Kick has won it. Zara again. Magic Time second. Jolly Star third. And then came Libertad Benedetta dropping it.
Just so good to see him back. Yeah, it was pretty tight up the straight. We're all hugged up on the outside there, and to be honest, I thought Magic Time sort of was going to hold me, but his last 50, geez, he dug in the old boy. He had a proper crack and got his hand out at the right time. Massive week. Hate to be a nice bowl of champagne about now.
So you can feel the atmosphere through your radio speakers there. It was unbelievable there on Saturday. And Giga Kick, what a horse he is. He's been through a lot, but he's back to his brilliant best. And Clayton Douglas has trained him to perfection, and he joins us now. Clayton, good morning to you.
Good morning, Gareth.
What about that on Saturday? It was unbelievable, really.
It was. What a great race to watch and be a part of. He really had to dig in deep there, and he did. And I obviously Magic Time's credit. She had a real crack as well, and it was a great race.
What about the roar from especially the younger generation there? Right on the fence in
Yeah,
pouring rain in terrible conditions. I couldn't believe what I was seeing there on Saturday.
it was awesome. It was so good. It's funny after the race. Obviously, ran into like a few of the young crowd, and they're cheering and carrying on, and there's beers flying everywhere, and it was the atmosphere was amazing for how the weather was.
Was it too wet for him in your eyes? Like, obviously, it was a heavy track. Were you, and he has performed well on a heavy track before, but were you concerned they're going into that race on Saturday, or was it just like you knew he'd get through it, but maybe not at his best?
Yeah, good question. I sort of was second guessing whether the track was starting to get too heavy for him. I do think he's probably, a bit better suited to, that sort of soft 7 sort of range. I probably didn't anticipate the track to get to a heavy 9 and deteriorate as well. But to his credit, he just kept trying so hard for us, and even sort of leveled at the 100. And I thought, he's going to run a good second, but you could see in that last 50 yards he really wanted to win, and it's good to sort of see him back at that level. And obviously, with all the problems that he's had, he's been able to sort of come back and win a Group 1 as a 6-year-old.
I think you make a good point there. He went to battle with a dead set heavy track lover in Magic Time, and I reckon his heart got him over the line there in the end. Everything that he's been through, and he went through that pain barrier, and he wanted to really step up and win that race.
Yeah, absolutely did. He put it all out there on Saturday and had a dead set crack, and it's obviously, it's hard that sometimes these older horses that have got a few injuries, they might be holding back a little bit, and you never know whether under the real pressure, whether they're going to sort of stand up. But he showed his heart on Saturday that he's just a champion, and, he's won, I think he's won a Group 1 in 3 states now. So not many horses can do that and say they've done that in their career.
I love how you talk about him. Obviously, he's your best friend, but everything that you've been through together, and he's been there at the start of your training career. Like, what does he mean to you, Clayton?
Oh, he means everything. He's just a lovely horse to be around.
Yeah.
He's got a great attitude towards work. He never works bad. He never disappoints you. He hasn't got a bad attitude, and he's a horse that obviously got really good ability as well.
He seems like that, like even that, I was watching racing.com with the verdict there yesterday, and when you called him over and he looked down the barrel, like he's a smart horse as well. And obviously that relationship between you and him is something pretty special, but you can actually see that. I remember you telling me that, like, when you travel with him, you sleep in the truck with him. So you do everything together.
Yeah, no, he's a horse that I've spent many of hours with in his lifetime, and he's a horse that he'll hold a very special place in my heart for a long time.
Is he a spooner or what, Giga?
Hey,
is he a spooner or what when you sleep with him?
It's a funny. That's a funny position.
What about so you go to Perth with him now?
Yeah, obviously that track was quite deteriorated Saturday, so I'll look after him. I won't back him up this Saturday. He'll sort of stay out of that scene. He's sort of put in a big effort, and the flight's next week for Perth, so we'll sort of set him up this week, and as long as I'm happy with him over the weekend, we'll head over to Perth. What's
his best race there? Is it the 1,400 metres with where he's at the prep, or is it the 1,200 metres of the Winterbottom?
Good question. That's a really good question. So I'll get him over there, and he'll head towards the Winterbottom.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a 3-week gap between the runs, which is perfect. And then obviously the 2 weeks after that's 1,400, which we know he's really good at the 1,400 as well. So potentially have the 2 runs, maybe the 1, just sort of see how things pan out. Like I say, I always look after him and just sort of take each run as they come.
I just got some news coming through from J.D. Hayes that Mr. Brightside will be heading to the paddock after Saturday, not going to Perth. So there you go. He's going to be a short price favourite if he does head towards a race like the Gold Rush as well, which is interesting.
Yeah, he will be, yeah.
So, like,
Going to be exciting sort of carnival for us, and hopefully he can sort of keep on his winning ways.
they'll definitely be paying you the appearance fee now with Brightside pulling out of Perth, mate. You'll have to go now. I don't know if Mr. Munns needs the money, but I think it's important, as I said to you before, I think it is important that for racing carnivals outside of Sydney and Melbourne, I know Brisbane's a little bit different. They've been getting a few superstars in recent times, but like Adelaide and Perth especially, they're great racing states. But sometimes I reckon they're being forgotten about in a way because of the carnivals in Perth and Sydney. I reckon Melbourne and Sydney, it's important that a horse like a Giddy Kick gets to Perth and he's like one of the very best in the game and they get to see him basically. So he'll bring a lot of people there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, we'll probably, Giga Kick obviously ran to Goodwood and Adelaide, and then we'll get him over to Perth as well.
Yeah.
So, to think that he will have been in 5 states,
Yeah.
he's very well travelled, that's for sure.
Well, congratulations. Wonderful performance with you, mate. And he missed 12 months. I think people forget about that. He missed 12 months, and to get him back to do what he's doing at the moment is credit to him, but especially to your training ability. So well done, and bring on Perth.
Thanks, Gareth. Thanks for having me on.
There's Clayton Douglas there. Peter Anthony's with me now. We're about to go to David Gately as well. In fact, we'll get stuck into our Monday breakdown.
On Giddy Up, it's time for the Melbourne Breakdown with David Gately and Pete Anthonez.
Hello to you, Pete.
Morning to you, G Hall. Morning to David Gately, and morning to the listeners.
And David Gately, hello to you, mate. How are you holding up? Yes. How good was that week at Flemington? I reckon especially that Saturday with the weather conditions, as I said from the top, you couldn't have got a day that was any worse basically than what we witnessed there on Saturday. There was wind, rain never stopped, but the 60-odd thousand racegoers still turned up and they thoroughly enjoyed it, and especially, as I said, the younger generation cheering home Giga Kick and Via Sistina. Yeah. 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 We'll talk about the champion sprint. Pete, Giga Kick had to fight. Magic Time's probably better at that heavy track type of rating than Giga Kick. But Giga Kick found a way to win there. Jolly Star was back in third. She doesn't enjoy that type of going at all, really.
No, she was really there to win, wasn't she? But
Yep.
she just couldn't keep going on that heavy surface. And as you said, Magic Time, just a genuine duck in the wet. What we're noticing with this younger generation, though, G, is that they're gravitating towards certain horses.
Yeah.
A bit like, I was talking about this on Trackside yesterday, it's a bit like in the NBA where they follow certain players, not teams.
Yep.
And that seems to be the flavour that we're seeing. Like some of the Raws on there on Saturday in particular, but that Giga Kick Raw was just out of this world. They
Yeah.
just wanted to back Giga Kick. They
Yeah.
didn't care that he wasn't favourite or anything like that. For whatever reason, that was their favourite horse in that race. Whiskey on the Hill was similar. Via Sistina, I think, just got a whole heap of people out of a hole, so that Raw went up. But
Yep.
Sabaj as well earlier in the day, it was just an electric atmosphere out there.
What'd you make of Giga Kick? We just had Clayton Douglas on, Gator. He's done an amazing job with his horse, and he is, where would you, I reckon I've never really seen him better. That Scalacci win was something else at Caulfield when he defied the pattern, blew them away. And then on Saturday when he had to dig deep to get over Magic Time. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and they love it. And we see it on this show and the people that we get on, like racing. The racing participants are excellent with their time. And it's one sport that I think and like we work here at SEN and we cover a host of different sports here at the Sports Entertainment Network. And a few of my colleagues, they're blown away with the access that we get to the biggest names in the game. Like we can ring up J Mac and Chris Waller and they can come on our show, Mark Sarah, Clayton Douglas there. So they're very good with their time. But you're right, like people like Zara and J Mac, they're rock stars when it comes to the racing game. And the punters know who they are and they just want to back them. It's like Zach Purton over in Hong Kong. It's like Willie Pike, and you've seen it firsthand in WA. People just turn up to the races, and they might not know anything about horse racing, but they know who W. Pike is, and they just back him. And that's why you get that roar, Pete, in that last race before the last race there at Ascot.
Yeah, exactly right. And even, Ollie in the last race of his career in the Gold Rush of Mudamek, I mean, that's one of the craziest experiences I've had on a race course. But it's not just Flemington either. Like the whole of this spring carnival, whether it's been at Caulfield or the Valley or even up in Sydney, you've seen this just huge throng of just young people, and they look so much younger than most of the usual race goers you get throughout the year. And they're just completely off their heads with just excitement.
100%. And you can even see it with say Giddy Up, for instance. Obviously, our podcast numbers are being really good, but you can see the difference, say, in like Apple and Spotify. Spotify, were all the younger demographic. It's caught up basically to Apple now. So it's great to see racing is in a terrific place. Just having a look at the Winterbottom Stakes market with Bet365. It's Giga Kick v Overpass, basically. Joker's Grin at 450, Ray McNerio at 11. Who would you want to be with?
I mean, look, I would probably lean to Giga Kick at this stage.
But on a good 4, probably.
Yeah, it'll be a good 4 to a good. Like, I mean, it's not raining in Perth at the moment. We'll put it that way. Joker's Grin will be with Giga Kick. They'll be going toe to toe. Overpass is going to get every chance out in front, as he always does. And look, I think he coming off that freshen up. I think they've unlocked that key to him. Going to Perth fresh is always when he's showing his best. So. Look, it's going to be a fascinating race. We'll see who else there's back in the field. Oscar's Fortune looks like he's come back in good form as well.
Yeah. Oscar's Fortune. You can't put them in the same conversation.
He should have beaten Joker's Grin first up.
Yeah,
Pete. And he goes well at Ascot. He's back.
I know you've been in great form, but you can't be tipping me Oscar's Fortune against Giddy.
Settle down, G. Settle down. You owe me 2
I'll
lunches.
I'll walk to Perth if Oscar's Fortune beats Giga Kick. I don't know how long that'll take us, Gator, but are you with me or not? Can you help me?
No, that's a decent hike. No, I'm not. Yeah, no, that's a bridge too far even for the old Ironman days. But I'll leave me out of that one. But I didn't even hear Matt Hill's call at the end of that sprint race because the roar was so loud. I was doing the replays and going, how good's that?
Yeah, and for the Gold Rush, no bright side. So Giga Kick 325. Joker's Grin could be a better horse over 1400.
Yeah,
$8.50. Then Gringotts, I don't know if he's going now. I don't think he is.
This race is so hard to pull apart. It is every year. There's changes like, do these horses out of the railway, do they go up in distance? They drop back to the 14. It's so hard
Grant
to work
Williams was telling us that Western Empire is going to go northerly back to the Gold Rush.
Which we've seen a few times. I think Red Can Man might have done that possibly. Or there was 1 or 2 horses, but yeah.
He's a magician, but is he that... Like, that would be some training performance to do that. Railway northerly, back to the Gold Rush. 22 minutes past 8, we'll take a break. We'll relive V. Sistina's back-to-back or second champion stakes there on Saturday at Flemington.
Country meets Caulfield for the CF4 Stakes. Group 1 racing and family fun. November 15. Tickets at Ticketek. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up, all thanks to Bet365. Simply sensational performance of the week, and why? The best one wins a $100 Ribera's Port Melbourne restaurant voucher. Simply sensational. We'll get to the... It's such a great day. We're going to get to this Champions Mile. It's one of the most fascinating, intriguing, what that type of races I've seen for quite some time. The Champions Mile, when Charwolf just got over the top of Pericles, or kicked back to beat Pericles. Then we'll talk about Via Sistina as well. Hey, Gator, when you did your, I love your poll at the end of each and every race day, but you went a little bit different, didn't you, there on Saturday? The best performance of the week?
Yeah, sort of. I do sort of do that every year and try and pick. It's tough to narrow it down to 4, right? But generally the Melbourne Cup winner wins that poll, and this year was no different. But so half yours with about 40% of the vote.
Yeah.
Tentaris from Coolmore Day had a lot of love though. He was at 38% or 30-something%. There was love for Via and Chaewolf, but there was only sort of about 9-10% left for them.
I was talking to a few mates at the pub there yesterday. Not necessarily what was the best performance, but the best race from an entertainment perspective for the Spring Carnival. Like the Everest was a great race, but it wasn't that. Like Karting Rising was a winner a long way from home. I don't know. The Cox Plate would have to be up there. Champions Mile, Champions Sprints in that conversation. I don't know what others there. Gator, that you think the best race from an entertainment perspective there throughout the spring.
Yeah, look, it's a great question. It's very subjective, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah, it is.
you see a brilliant performance like Tentaris and the margin is significant, and that's jaw-dropping.
Yes.
You see, it's pretty rare these days to have a Melbourne Cup margin like that, first through to second, third, fourth. So that was noteworthy.
Yeah.
But then, or do you gravitate to, the two-horse war, the dogfight, and that's when the Cheerwolves and the Giga Kicks come into play. I think both are equally. I love I love seeing both, and I mean, if I've backed or tipped one, I'm not sure which one I cheer harder for, but it's a lot of fun either way.
Pete?
I think, for me, as we said, completely subjective, but my favourite race is the Champions Mile. I've never seen a race quite like it. I know there was a lot of bluff potentially earlier in the week, talking about Treasure of the Moment, how they're going to ride aggressively. And then watching the first 300 metres, I couldn't believe how aggressive they were.
Yeah.
And then obviously it set it up for the two-horse war on the straight, the story to come after that, going to the steward's room and so forth. But unbelievable week as it was.
We'll get to that race in just a moment. We'll take the news, we'll come back and we'll review the mile and the stakes there from Flemington on Saturday.
Good morning, making SEN News headlines. Aussie radio legend John Laws is being remembered as a gifted DJ, talkback host and a true pioneer. He's passed away aged 90. Susan Lee has gained 3 points as preferred PM in the latest Resolve poll, but still trails Anthony Albanese by 14 points. At least 3 people have been killed after a super typhoon packing winds of up to 230 k's an hour hit the Philippines. And in one of the biggest shake-ups to hit the AFL finals since the top 8 was introduced in 1994, a finals wildcard weekend is coming, involving positions 7 to 10. Coming up, SEN Sport. Week 8 in the NBL wrapped up yesterday with the Sydney Kings 7-point winners over the Breakers, and the Perth Wildcats got up 94 to 87 against the Adelaide 36ers. And week 2 of the AFLW finals is locked in. Melbourne, after losing to Brisbane, will host Adelaide in a semi-final. The other semi will see Hawthorn taking on Carlton.
Country meets Caulfield for the CF4 Stakes. Group 1 racing and family fun. November 15. Tickets at Ticketek. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
It is stamina sapping. Then came Chowolf joining in, and Pericles under the arches. Pericles takes the lead at the 200 metres, going with it. Chowolf, Pericles at the 100. Chowolf won't give in. Pericles, Chowolf coming back. Chowolf off the canvas, and Pericles, Chowolf or Pericles in a photo. It's going to be a photo finish, and they were followed by Steffi Magnetica.
Yeah, look, he's an amazing horse, and just so proud of him. I've thought for a long time he's the best horse I've trained, and just with these last 2 wins, he's certainly cemented his spot there. Great work from the team at home. Big effort to get these horses here on these big days, and he'd never travelled away before, but he's handled it all really well, and we'll be back.
So that was Joe Pride talking to Channel 9 after the race. What a performance it was by both those horses. Steffi Magnetica was brave. Unfortunately, Mr. Brightside just didn't show up. We thought it was his race on a heavy track in a race that he's performed well in the past, but he never went. Pride of Jenny didn't handle the conditions, according to Declan Bates. So it's a race that had it all. I'll go to you first of all here, Gator. Describe this race for us in your eyes.
Yeah, well, sort of watching it live, Chowolf was in the perfect spot, but so was Mr. Brightside, and obviously Pericles and Steffi had Chowolf in their sights. Treasure of the Moment, once she cruised to Pride of Jenny, who did look gone at the 500. I mentioned that on to colleagues that she's unfortunately she's gone. Treasure of the Moment took over and looked home when they sent to the middle of the track, still travelling sweetly. Just didn't let down as well on the heavy and was quickly collared by Chowolf. Then Pericles joined in and looked home. I do think the winner just simply has a slightly greater will for the contest, and there's nothing against Pericles. He's a ripper. That's certainly the way to ride him, save him for one run. They've tried to make early moves, and he just doesn't have a long sustained sprint. Steffi was a clear third, but thrashed. And Treasure of the Moment, in the end, beaten 8.3 lengths. So that's a big margin. Mr. Brightside's action didn't look right to me. I know he vetted clear and he's now off to the paddock, so a forgive run there. Same story, Pride of Jenny. The winner, if you've got a mix of, similar to Via, if you've got a mix of class and courage, it'll take you a long way.
I guess the problem with heavy tracks, isn't it, in a nutshell, is there's no 2 heavy tracks are the same. So even if you've got all the heavy track form in the world, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to perform the day. And look, we're still waiting for some of the speed numbers to come through. We're still yet to get the sectionals early of what they were actually able to do. But winner, 6.5 lengths off them at the 800. Runner-up was 8.5 lengths. Third was 8.4 lengths, which suggests to me they were hooning. And it just set up for those horses that just didn't spend as much energy early and were just able to keep slogging away in the finish because it was just a ridiculous speed up front. To my eye, anyway, It looked like they were going hard.
He's going to be a perfect Cox Plate horse, Chowolf. 2,000 metres shouldn't be a problem, but it's going to be a solid run race. I reckon he's going to be vulnerable once again, maybe even in the autumn when he gets these weight for age races and they go slow. It just doesn't suit him. He needs a Pride of Jenny in his races or a big field that can generate pace. Otherwise, he's in a world of pain. But as Joe Pride pointed out yesterday on Correct Weight, he's a big grand final horse when they run races like grand final races should be run.
And look, the greatest part of the Cox Plate for next year, Gareth, is it's at Flemington. So they've already ticked that box. They don't need to worry about giving him a run over the valley, see if he handles it or anything like that. They just know what they need to do now.
Gator, Chad Schofield smashes the whip rule out of the park, basically. He breaks it. And then obviously he gets suspended for 18 meetings. There's some people blowing up the punters saying, well, you've got to lose the race. Then why didn't the stewards protest? Because he's clearly broken the rules. And there is a strong argument to say that if he didn't break those rules, he doesn't win that race. What's your take on this?
Well, I think I see the argument, absolutely. Yeah. I just can't subjectively tell you or quantify what the margin would be. So, that I can't, in any logical part of my brain, admittedly it's small, I can't give the race to someone who didn't win it without evidence to tell you that they should have won it.
Yeah, I totally agree there. So if you're going to have these whip rules in place, I have them in place. But the problem is that you've got to change the rules of racing, and it's going to be black and white and say, okay, then we're going to take. We're not even going to like the stewards aren't going to throw in a protest. It's just we're going to have the power to say you've broken these rules, you lose the race. And we're going to take out all of the guessing game, whether you would have won or not. It was clear that you broke the rules, Chad, so you're second. We're sorry about that. Well, you probably could have won, but
Well, what
you
about
probably
punters
would
then?
have won. Beg your pardon? Well, the
What about punters then?
I can understand that, but the punters, what about the punters who backed the second horse, but the jockey didn't break the rules because he didn't want to break the rules? I think if you're going to have these rules in place, then they're going to be black and white, like because it doesn't. If you've got a race where your jockey doesn't want to break the whip rules, and you've got a jockey that does, and he gets 4 weeks, and the other jockey doesn't, and you lose by a nose, I don't think that's fair either, Gator. I think there's a strong argument for both sides here.
Yeah, no, 100% agree.
Why have the whip rule in place then? If one jockey's going to obey it and the other isn't, it's a difficult one, I know, but.
Yeah, no, it is, and your point's valid and salient. And we're in the minority in this world these days that can hear both sides of an argument and have some critical thinking. But I think, I think it comes down for purely in my very humble. It comes down to the inability to quantify what the margin is.
Yeah.
I agree with what Gator said. And look, I back Pericles, but I don't want to see that result being overturned for the sake of a rule that appears to be more based on optics than anything else. And that's putting it politely. At the end of the day, it's kind of irrelevant in the Group 1 because you do what you need to do to win the race.
What about if Ben Mellon goes, I would have broken the whip rules like Chad, but I didn't want to break the rules because I didn't want to get a holiday. I respected the game.
Yeah.
So what do you say to that? And then the punters go, well, and Ben goes, I've got no doubt if I did that, I would have lifted that horse and we would have won by a nose.
I'll wait until someone can come up with a scientific study that can prove to me how much a whip strike equates to time improved or lengths gained.
So why have the rule then?
That's a good question. It relates back to optics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and optics are a real thing. So I think I think Pete's point's 100% right, and I agree with it. But we need it. We need to be mindful of the optics on a number of fronts. So I think it's certainly worth keeping in mind and keeping cognizant of.
Bright side, so he goes to the paddock. Treasure of the moment was brave. It was interesting, the tactics in the race as well. Lane didn't want to let Pride of Jenny get away with anything there on Saturday. And that's, to be honest, been her kryptonite in when jockeys want to race her in the first furlong or 2 furlongs. It doesn't allow her. It's not necessarily how quick they go. It's just her, like Declan, just getting it. She doesn't get into the rhythm that she needs to get into.
Yeah, exactly right. And to be honest, as Gator said, Treasure of the Moment still loomed to win. I could not believe how well she was travelling into the straight, as if she was still going to keep finding. But, maybe that was the heavy track. Maybe she was just at the end of a very difficult preparation.
Yep.
But she's a horse for me that I'll be following very closely next season.
We'll take a break. We'll come back and have a look at the Champion Stakes.
Country meets Caulfield for the CF4 Stakes. Group 1 racing and family fun. November 15. Tickets at Ticketek. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall, Pete Anthonys, and of course the Gator man, David Gately, with me for the breakdown of Flemington. Interesting text messages come through. You want a coffee? Question mark. Obviously, that's set that to the wrong person today. But I would love a long black with a little bit of honey. That's okay. 278, the number is there. So let's play Via Sistina, winning, of course, the Champion Stakes.
At the 300 metres, here comes the star Via Sistina. She lets down from Tom Kidden, Pierre and Zambado. 200 to go. Via Sistina, 2 legs. Zambado running a race from Pierre and Tom Kidden. Via Sistina, 100 metres to go. She's got the class and she's got the legs, the stamina to win. Another star turn from Via Sistina, 3 legs. Zambado,
We'll talk
Tom
about
Kidden.
Via Sistina to start with here, Gator. I don't know, like, it sounds a little bit weird, but that was her 12th Group 1. But I don't know if that was her moment there where the racing public, especially the fan, just said, well, you're a champion and we do appreciate you, and you're now like a people's champ. Before that, I reckon there were other horses in the game that were more popular than Via Sistina, but I reckon that was an important day for her career there on Saturday.
Yeah, look, it was. She's certainly in the twilight of fame now. But, I mean, if you can win Group 1, number 12, and on that CV, you've got a Cox Plate victory by 8 lengths in unbelievable time, the fastest Cox Plate in history by some 6 or 7 lengths. So, look, I think that was the day we all were comparing her, to the mighty Winx. I think the thing with Winx is she did it 25 times, 30 times. And Via Sistina's had a couple of those jaw-dropping moments. This was one on Saturday. The field weren't of the depth and quality of last year's Cox Plate or even this year's Cox Plate, but the manner of the win was exceptional, and the visually effortless nature of it late was extremely likeable from an athletic perspective.
Really fascinating horse from a visual perspective, from a mounting yard perspective. We've heard Chris Waller talking about this horse's preparation and the fact that she's almost been one run behind the entire prep, and he was going to throw the kitchen sink at her since the Cox Plate, and she was finally at her fighting weight. I think she might have lost even 5 kilos between the Cox Plate and what we saw there on the weekend, and it looked like that visually in the yard. She was finally ripped, like she had nothing left on her. No. So look, her preparation possibly wasn't by design as optimal as it could have been. But, I mean, this was still a celebration of a great horse.
Via Sistina was rated 125 after winning the Cox Plate. Zambado that finished second. It's one of those truly remarkable performances in a way regarding, like, batting outside of your class. He rated after winning a benchmark 78. He rated 78. Oh, they haven't got the ratings out after he finished second in Saturday's race, Gator, but that was a big effort. He's done a few points to win that 540,000 to finish second, but obviously Mick, and they backed him as well. Mick Price and Michael Kent Jr.
Oh, I was baffled by that. I was sitting there thinking, I'd give you 100 to 1 this horse. He effectively, in a handicap, would have had to have given Via Sistina 24 kilos. Yeah. So it was mathematically impossible. But again, it shows you, athletics over #data every day of the week. He beat home some good ones. He beat home Tom and Pierre and Light Infantryman Attrition. So connections would leave wrapped. And I don't think they'll be worried about the steep rise in ratings points because it looks like he'll just contest set weights, penalties and weight for age races now anyway.
Tom Kitten was Tom Kitten, as Ben Mellon pointed out after the race. Pierre for Ethan Brown. I think he's had a good preparation. Ethan mentioning that this grounding this time in will make him a far better horse. Light Infantry Man, I wonder if they go back to Perth with him, Pete. I think it was the pass mark after he missed the kick.
I thought it was a great run from last. I mean, when's Light Infantry Man ever shown a turn of foot necessarily? Yeah. I think him going back to Perth looks just a no-brainer.
Any horses out of that race that you want to be following into next campaign, Gator?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Pierce was likeable. Certainly had a far from ideal run in transit as well. I know the fence was off, but still, you've got to face the breeze into a pretty strong headwind at times. So, he's got a track record in his CV in Queensland, so he's no slouch.
All right, then. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with horses to follow from the Flemington Carnival.
Country meets Caulfield for the CF4 Stakes. Group 1 racing and family fun. November 15. Tickets at Ticketek. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Gareth Hall with you, Peter Anthony and David Gately for the Flemington Breakdown. Gator horses to follow.
Yeah, obviously it's tail end of Carnival, but Sabaj was only second up, wasn't he? And he was
Very
terrific.
good.
He's shown that they just didn't know wet track, but I was chatting to Mark Zara before he came on with Channel 9, and he said once I galloped him round at the start, I thought, oh, he's fine. He's really enjoying it. So he's a horse going forward. Point Barrow's a really exciting filly. If she ever gets the first half of her races right, look out for her. So, and there are a couple in that race I think can be followed with some confidence outside of the A grade, you know.
Yeah. Pete?
Well, I think on type, Zambardo is a weight for age type, so I look forward to seeing what they do with him next preparation and which races they target. But I thought Treasure of the Moment and Tom Kidden, given interrupted preparations, we can follow them going to the autumn. Just giving them another chance in these Group 1 races.
It's going to be some autumn. It's going to be an important autumn because we'll say goodbye to Pride of Jenny. We'll say goodbye to Mr. Brightside most likely. We'll definitely say goodbye to V. Sistina. We get to see Treasure of the Moment back at the races, hopefully after an uninterrupted campaign. Tentyrus and a few of these 3-year-olds coming back, Gator. It is going to be some autumn.
No, it is that. Obviously, unfortunately, we didn't get to see Tentyrus against the A grade on Saturday, but we saw Tempted run second in an Everest, so these 3-year-olds will measure up.
Godolphin will have an interesting planning session when they're getting set for the autumn, how they split up all these 3-year-olds. Like, they don't want to probably compete Tentyrus and Tempted together. That might be a situation that they can't avoid, but they've got Attica and Observer and those type of 3-year-olds that they've got to look to split up as well, Pete. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Are they taking the plane to Royal Ascot next year?
Yeah, yes, I think they are. And then Autumn Glow. We'll get to see how good she is. She'll have to take on horses like Via and Charwolf, you would imagine, maybe. So, bring on the autumn. Good on you, Gator. Loved your work, mate.
Great
Appreciate
work.
That.
Pleasure.
There's David Gately there. You're going to stay with us, Pete. There's a host of text messages that have come through, and we'll also look back to Ascot on Saturday. Their carnival well and truly in full swing, and Dan Morton could have one hell of a spring/summer carnival in his home state.
Good morning, I'm Nate Gardner with SEN News. AFL CEO Andrew Dillon will hold a press conference this hour where he'll confirm a finals wildcard weekend. During the pre-finals bye, 7th will take on 10th and 8th faces 9th for a spot in the final 8. It's being labelled a cash grab by many fans, with 64% of respondents to a Herald Sun poll against it. John Law's incredible broadcasting career is being remembered after he passed away yesterday at his Sydney home, aged 90. The man, known as Golden Tonsils, had an on-air career that spanned more than 7 decades. New South Wales Premier Chris Minns telling Nine he'd seriously consider a state funeral for the radio legend.
We'd do everything we can to acknowledge his legacy and reputation for Australia and broadcasting, so if they would like to do it, we'd love to offer it.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is considering whether to extend the $150 power bill rebates, which are due to finish at the end of this year. Energy costs are the second biggest source of financial stress for Australians, according to new research. The US government shutdown rolls on as senators fail to reach a deal with public servants not paid for weeks. Thousands of flights have been cancelled as air traffic controllers call in sick so they can work a second job that pays. And the Director General and CEO of BBC News have resigned after it was revealed the broadcaster edited a speech by President Trump where it appeared he explicitly encouraged the January 6 riots in 2021. Coming up, SEN Sport. A major blow for Oscar Piastri after coming 5th at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Teammate Lando Norris was first, extending his F1 championship lead. And thanks to Unibet, some of the winners in the NFL so far today: the Jets over the Browns, the Saints too good for the Panthers, and the Patriots beating the Buccaneers. 3 games on currently, including the Seahawks leading the Cardinals.
live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up, a busy middle hour coming your way here on Giddy Up. We'll continue on the breakdown with Pete Anthony. Gators had to leave us, but it was always great to catch up with Gator in that first hour. Lee Jordan, the racing manager at the VRC, will join me. Then Mick Gannon will look back at Rose Hill with that Rose Hill breakdown. We'll find you a few winners with bag of tips today. It's a little earlier because we are combining Waitley and Giddy Up with the means test, which kicks off at 10 o'clock. We'll do the first hour with Jared, and then we'll take your questions after that with Wayne Hawkes and Johnny O'Neill. And then we'll look back with Chris Nelson at Eagle Farm, Mitchy Lewis as well there at Morpherville. Plus, we'll take a look back at the big meeting at the Meadows with the Top Guns there on Saturday night and the Greyhounds, and we'll talk some harness racing, especially as we continue the build-up towards the big day at Addington, highlighted by the New Zealand Trotting Cup there tomorrow in New Zealand. It's 4 minutes past 9. Pete Anthony is with me. Pete, host of text messages coming through. The simply sensational moment of the week is easily the work of the VRC and Collie Rogers in running a world-class event. It was terrific there at Flemington, their best week for quite some time.
Yeah, and the track played absolutely amazing as well, given the conditions they were handed throughout the week. I thought it was arguably the best it's played in 5 years or so.
My Simply Sensational certainly doesn't go to the captain, G. You should have sacked Gano when you had the chance. Nadal, seriously, get off O'Neill's bandwagon. Back from injury and look very average first out. Be a better captain. That's from Az. That's a very good point you make. I was sort of in Nadal's team as well, and so were the punters, 10-5. It was heavily supported, Pete.
The wet track certainly was in his favour. Had every chance, though, didn't he? Was there the win at the 400 and then stopped.
Yeah. Simply sensational performance of the week was seeing Giga and Via's win. Standing in the rain, sensational. That's from Mark. I was keen on Golden Snap like you were and backed it each way, but my God, he should have won if he didn't have to do so much work early onto the crossing and be up on the speed. Massive run. That's from Dave.
I think it was a huge run, but it wasn't necessarily having to do the work. I think that was in the horse's favour. It was just a wet track, wasn't it? It's just, if it was a dry track, it could have been a completely different story.
Could have just kept on going and just made it a real staying trip. Because he got ahead and then he came back again, which means they probably didn't go quick enough on him.
He looked like he was gone at the 1,000.
Yeah. Hi, Gareth. Forget about what you saw in Australia on the weekend. The real star is well written in the 1,000 guineas. Total star. Whether it's the Golden Eagle, the Cox Plate, just got on now. It's a freak. That happened in New Zealand.
Another one for you, Long.
Yes. One in Everest is a 2-year-old Giggy Kick, being a late foal and should have won last year as well when he stumbled before the line. He has been a remarkable horse, Giggy Kick.
He's a star.
Yeah. Gator of Sembardo goes to the Australian Cup. Do you think he wins off that run on Saturday?
Hard to tell who's the field.
Yeah. Was Jolly Star ridden more forward than usual? I think that's her pattern down the straight.
Yeah, almost by default. It was one of those days where because of the wind, no one really wanted to be there leading. So, yeah, almost just ended up there.
Where's a love for V, Garrett? Just won a Cox Plate and destroyed them in the Champ Stakes. And all we're hearing is about his Giggy Kick. I think we've given a lot of love for V. I love V. I think she was mighty.
Yeah, that was, I guess, the celebration of Via's career there on Saturday.
Yeah. Think a lot had to do with a lot of the kids that I know got a $99 membership to Caulfield through Sportsbet. I reckon that helped a bit and pushed them on. They ended up going to Flemington as well. It's a good idea. Totally agree.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think we can discount the rise of influencer culture that's filtering through to racing. Obviously, this is not aimed at my generation, let alone anyone older than me. But the younger kids, they're getting intel and they're getting excited from somewhere that's outside of the norm.
The roar in the Saintly Place Sports Bar when Autumn Glow won the Golden Eagle was something else. Hi, Gareth. You able to find out how all the bookies paid out for the call of the card? I don't know how that happened. The footage of Clayton Douglas' reaction trackside a Giggy Kick winning, simply sensational moment, true care and love. Yeah, I think it's just great footage, I reckon, of the love that Clayton has for Giggy Kick. G'day, boys. My performance of the week is Whiskey on the Hill. Went enormous on Saturday. Glenn Thompson is doing a great job with his team. That's from Jamie.
Yep, absolutely.
Gareth, best performance was Thomas Carberry getting his horse Strictly Business to win the Group 1 Oaks at only his third start. That's from Greg. As we said there on Thursday, people will be talking about that training performance for years to come.
Yeah, well, that was a pretty special moment. Not going to lie. That was fantastic viewing.
Yeah. Dave says, my sensational performance of the week is a dead heat. Clayton Douglas jumping in the rain while watching his star Giggy Kick. Tough it out to win the champion sprint. And you for finding out Giga is going to Perth for the Gold Rush when his odds were $11. Don't get too confident, Dave. There's a good chance he'll run in the winner bottom.
Yeah,
and Clayton
that's right.
says, oh, he's done enough.
Seen this before.
Yeah. Best performance of the weekend was Joe Moira fleecing Chris Waller for 2 key rides up in Sydney. That's from Dan. Poor old Joe. Rain on day heavy tracks can be different beasts with the surface water. That's a good point that rain
absolutely.
makes out.
Yep.
Treat it like motorsport. You get a time penalty, a 2-second penalty. For Chad would sort that all out. That means he loses the race. A lot of whip rule text messages coming through. The whip rule exists for optics, not for illegally gaining an advantage. A dead heat for whip rule was upheld in Vic 3 years ago. That's from Ray. Easy fix whips in a bucket at starting stalls. Yeah, that would fix it.
Wouldn't be popular with the jocks.
Yeah, geez, Gator. Under your logic, rules do not matter, so why have them? He broke the whip rules, so he should lose the race, period. That's from Mark.
Yeah, well,
Whip rules have been overturned for dead heats. Pericles was shifty and causing interference.
100%. I think that was probably the key point. I was on Pericles and was almost half thinking down the straight, if he wins this, that we're going to the steward's room regardless. So.
Yeah. Farflung got beat by a nostril and the same thing happened. The rule is there to appease the minority, the same minority that wouldn't protest Saturday because it was raining.
Don't know, I caught the training, didn't see him regardless throughout the week.
Hi, G. My performance of the week was the blogger, Stevie Power, and Australian racing community for the insight that was shown by trainers. Waller, Dewey and Waterhouse were excellent. Fair to say the blogger had the wipeout on Saturday. Thanks, big boy. That's from Michael. Well said, Michael. Whip rules are easy to sort out. Stewards need to decide, is it there for optics or advantage? If optics, fines are fine. If advantage, horse is disqualified. That'll end the overuse. That's from Mark. They just need to, I agree with Mark, just say what they're there for.
Yeah.
Black and white. Make it simple for us. Racing could also come up with a set penalty for excessive whip strikes, like 0.1 lengths, for example, without a clear rule and penalty. It's a nothing rule. I totally agree with that. Like, what is it? Jockeys receive fines for excessive whip use, not for getting an unfair advantage, but for damaging the brand of racing. Morning, lads. Great week. V16, that's 8 2,000-metre Group 1s in Australia, second only to Winx in the modern era. A great racehorse. Agree with that, Nick. How would Buckaroo have gone in those conditions? Could have been a great Cox Plate rematch.
Yeah, what could have been?
But maybe he trained off, like he never went a yelp in the Melbourne Cup.
Exactly.
We'll get to most of those text messages. They keep on flowing through as the morning unfolds. But let's talk about Perth. It was Dan Morton's day there at Ascot on Saturday.
Super Smick trying to get around his heels now into the clear. In good order, the stablemate is there as well. In good order, Super Smick dashing between them. Super Smick goes to the lead from In Good Order. It's Super Smick. She's got the better of the stablemate and wins it, Super Smick. Now King of Light getting up near the inside. Here he comes. He's out after. He's a Phoenix. 150 to go. He's a Phoenix, the leader. King of Light cutting the margin down. King of Light coming at He's a Phoenix. King of Light. King of Light. King of Light got there from He's a Phoenix.
Pete, he's on fire, Dan Morton. He's got one hell of a team heading into the Pinnacles.
Yeah, he does. But he always gets up and about at this time of year. He's always got one or two really smart ones. But he looks to have the WA Guineas at his mercy if the barrier draw is kind for King of Light.
He's a great grand final trainer, especially when he travels his horses. But he's on in his own backyard come the Pinnacles, and he joins us now, the champion trainer. Hello to you, Dan.
Morning, Gareth. How are you?
Good, thanks, mate. We'll start off with Super Smick. Pete Anthonys was right. He was all over this horse there during the week, and he had the perfect run, but he was able to sprint well. You must be looking forward to the Railway Stakes in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, certainly are. I was just listening to you there. Like, our team's been building beautifully, so everything's got to still, pan out obviously, and everything's got to turn up on the day. But so far so good.
She's come a long way throughout her career, but I guess last campaign or last summer, you went to the Gold Rush. You went to all the big dances with her. I still don't know. I'll ask Pete first, being the form guru, then I'll ask the trainer. What is Super Smick's best trip?
I think a mile, but 1,400 is probably also within her wheelhouse. But looking at these runs from last year, Danny, Railway Stakes, my comment, not suited. My comment in the Northerly, not suited. My comment in the Gold Rush, not suited. Do you have any nightmares still regarding the mare when you look back at what could have been last year? And are you trying to atone this year by targeting one of those races in particular, or are you just going to see how her prep unfolds?
Yeah, to look back, I try and take one of old Bart's comments as just don't look in the rear vision mirror. It doesn't help you. So that's never helpful. But, yeah, like she was great in them all. And, you know, she's furnished, you know, really nicely again. So any one of those, you know, obviously, you know, they're all Group 1s, they're all big races. And you need, you know, probably with a racing pattern too, she can find herself in a bit of strife sometimes. So everything's got to, you know, wash well for her in the run. But yeah, she's going great. She's in amongst it. You know, I don't know. And to be honest, you know, she's very effective at a lot of journeys. So and I think even last year, one of her most unlucky runs was where she didn't even weigh in, was in the Northerly at the 1800. So. Yeah. None of them sort of really hold any fears for me, but yeah, we'll just get her up and about, and first things first, we'll head into the railway.
So the Eastern State trainers, when you ask them at the start of the spring, they go, oh, it's the King Charles, that will be the main aim, or it'll be a Cox Plate. But for these WA trainers, they get 3 shots at Group 1s. And like what Grant Williams told us there the other day, Dan, that he'll go to a Northerly, he'll go Railway 1600, Northerly 1800, back to a Gold Rush 1400. Like, they would never do that over here, basically. So I reckon it has to be a major challenge for you trainers over there, because you can't afford not to go in these type of races in a way, because you only get 3 cracks at Group 1s.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, they're not eating the paint off the wall. We are.
Yeah. So, which race will you target, or is it just you just take it race at a time? Is there one particular one that you want her to be firing for?
Look, honestly, they're all good opportunities, and that's the thing, you know. And we're probably a little bit lucky where, you know, we're a bit insulated. You know, we don't get rated that much from the East Coast, so, you know, I know that I'm not sure even what's going to turn up yet, but you know, our horses like her, like, you know, probably a Western Empire, like, you know, our big good sprinters stand up anywhere, so you know, they're good opportunities, and we'll be taking them.
All right, then how good's this 3-year-old King of Light?
Yeah, he's a ripper. There's a lot of depth here this year, I think, in the 3-year-olds. So the first 3 over the line, I thought were very good runs there. But yeah, our guy, he can't have done any more. He's going super. He's pulled up great. So yeah, I just sort of see how deep into the carnival we can get him. You know, he'll line up in the Guineas, obviously, and yeah, a little bit of luck, he can edge on through to a Northerly himself. But yeah, he's a exciting horse.
So he's the favourite there for the Northerly at 350 with Bet365, Pete. He's a short price favourite for the Guineas. In your eyes, is he the best 3-year-old in Perth?
As Danny just said, this is a very competitive bunch of 3-year-olds.
Yeah.
I think obviously that price, and he should be the favourite for the Guineas. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Obviously, the fillies have a little bit more of a difficult route. They have to race in the champion fillies this week or bypass that to go straight to the Guineas. But based on what I've seen so far, he doesn't seem to have any ceiling remotely at this stage. So he looks like the mile. He'll just eat that up as well.
You must be looking forward to this carnival, Dan. Have you got stars everywhere you look? What's the build-up like in Perth?
Yeah, it's all pretty steady so far. But from next Saturday on, I think, you know, a few of the, I'm not sure when the Eastern Saturdays arrive, but, you know, everybody, and, you know, sort of enjoys that and embraces it, and, you know, get amongst it. So yeah, from probably next Saturday on, it's Champion Fillies Day. Everything starts to ramp up from there. So yeah, we got a good. You know, our system's working beautifully. We've got some nice horses around us, and everybody's doing the right thing. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Any other horses outside of the norm that we should keep an eye out for during the carnival?
Like I was saying, it's a healthy batch of 3-year-olds, and we've got a few of those ourselves. So we've got Booth Elise, going great. He's one of Trevor Delroy's nice horse. He's won his last couple. He'll go to the Guineas.
Yeah.
My Authoritar will go to the Guineas. I thought he's, you know, knocking on the door as well. And we've got a nice filly in the champion fillies called Pure Excess. I think she's above average. So, yeah, got some good ammo. Just got to get them all there in one piece.
How many will line up in the Placid Arc for you on Saturday?
Zero. Yeah, I was possibly going to, you know, head back that way with one of the fillies, but, yeah, she's more of a champion fillies type. But,
All right,
Yeah.
mate. Well done on the weekend. Obviously, it's the right time of the year to have your team firing, but you've got one hell of a team heading towards that pinnacle, the pinnacles. So we'll be catching up on a more regular basis. There's no doubt about that. But well done on the weekend, mate.
No, thank you.
And
Cheers.
who rides that good horse? Parnham will ride, of course. Is Pike stick with the 3-year-old throughout the carnival?
Yeah, so far I can't imagine he'd be wanting to hurry off him at this point.
No, I'm just making sure he's got that many options. You don't know who he's committed to these days, but he's definitely a freelance rider now. W Pike, anyone can get him.
Yeah.
He just gets the best
Yeah,
horse.
no, well, that's it. It's he's been shaken loose there from Peter's outfit, which is probably it's sometimes a bit more of a even playing field. When you can get him on board. So that said, also like if there's any jockey managers listening, we need a few more over here for the carnival. So we got some good ammo that need hoops.
Yeah, so Grant Williams pointed that out as well. I know that Billy Egan's been booked for Western Empire. I think D Lane's in. He usually goes back, so he goes back on. I think he goes to Japan this week. If I was a trainer or anyone listening in Perth, there's a man by the name of M Zara that will be booked for Giga Kick. I would imagine you'd be trying to book him for a Guineas ride right now as I speak, Dan, because he'll be there in Perth on that Saturday.
Yeah, we shouldn't give him a sore back.
No, he shouldn't. He's had one hell of a spring. Good on you, Dan. Thanks for that, mate.
Thanks, guys.
There's
Bye.
Dan Morton there. So, Pete, Railway Stakes.
Yes.
I'm still with Western Empire. Is Dan gone? Yeah, he is. I think he's still the horse. I loved his effort there the other day.
So can I preface this? The Railway Stakes is going to be decided by who wins the RJ Peters this week. If you've got a horse over here and you're considering taking it across for the Railway Stakes, if you've got an Eastern States Raider, bear in mind that one of Cosmic Crusader, Bonjoy, they won't be making the field. The winner of this RJ Peters, and Cosmic Crusader is currently the favourite. If he doesn't win this weekend, he doesn't make the final field.
Why does Bob do this to us every year?
Well, you've got to time your run. You don't want to, pressure him too much during the middle of the year. And they came out and they won those 2 penalty kick races at Belmont by big margins, and then got unstuck last week or last time out with questionable lack of intent there early. So, look, if you've got an Eastern States Raider and they've trotted up well and they've come through the Cup week, particularly in good fashion, you would be on the plane instantly, because this is going to be a wide open Railway Stakes.
All right, so who are you tipping? Watch Me Rock, $5. This is the ride that Pike will have for Grant and Alana Williams. Super Smink, $6. Evaporate, $8.50. Gringotts at $8.50.
I am still giving a chance to Super Smink. I think she is just on track. She's arguably going better than what she was this time last year, even though she wasn't suited in a lot of those races. And Rope Them In is absolutely airborne at the moment.
Okay.
His run with the 61 kilos there last start was enormous. No expectation of him performing second up, and he did. And he is on track for a really nice performance.
What about the Northerly?
The Northerly's just getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Obviously, the 3-year-olds had a really good record in that race. But again, who's coming over from the Eastern States? How many strong Eastern States on-speed horses in particular are going to be featuring in that race?
It's going to be... The Winter Bottom will be the best race from a superstar perspective, Overpass v Giga Kick. It's going to get the most eyeballs on from an Eastern State perspective, and taking on Joker's Grin, who everybody knows after taking the Quokka.
That's right.
So it's going to be the race, I reckon, of the pinnacles.
And look, you've got other horses in the market in terms of Cabalas, Ray Magnerio, Benedetta. Like, there's a lot of depth to that field from a Group 1 perspective from the Eastern States. We'll see how many of them turn up. But even if they don't, the top 3 is already a headline affair.
Horses to follow?
From WA. Oh, look, Western Empire's the horse to follow.
Yes.
So I didn't back him there on the weekend, obviously.
I was wrong. You were right again.
I mean, it all comes down to race map, doesn't it?
But that's where you were right, and I got carried away, really.
He's still a good performer. And Super Smink, she had the race at her mare CVA on the weekend, but going back to what she did first up, I would make an argument she was possibly a bit flat second up, even though she won. So, look, I think they're both going well. And look, the winner of the RJ Peters is going to have every chance, whether it's Cosmic Crusader or a Bonjoy or whoever else.
It's going to be a good race at RJ
Yeah,
Peters.
can't
Every
wait.
year it produces the drama.
Yeah.
Good on you, Pete.
No worries, Gareth.
We'll take a break. We'll come back with Lee Jordan next.
Country meets Caulfield for the CF4 Stakes. Group 1 racing and family fun. November 15. Tickets at Ticketek. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. It's 9:28. Just been on the phone to Bjorn Baker. Pericles isn't going. So he's only taking to Perth, I speak about. He's only taking Overpass. So there's a few markets that has Pericles involved. So at the moment, from an Eastern States perspective, Giddy Kick's the only horse that of any note really that is confirmed for Perth. He'll start favourite or close to favourite with Overpass in a winner bottom. And if he pushes on towards the Gold Rush, he'll be a short price favourite in that race. It's 9:29. Lee Jordan to join me straight after the news.
Good morning, making SEN News headlines. Aussie radio legend John Laws is being remembered as a gifted DJ, talkback host and a true pioneer. He's passed away aged 90. Susan Lee has gained 3 points as preferred PM in the latest Resolve poll, but still trails Anthony Albanese by 14 points. At least 3 people have been killed after a super typhoon packing winds of up to 230 k's an hour hit the Philippines. And in one of the biggest shake-ups to hit the AFL finals since the top 8 was introduced in 1994, a finals wildcard weekend is coming, involving positions 7 to 10. Coming up, SEN Sport. A major blow for Oscar Piastri after coming 5th at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Teammate Lando Norris was first, extending his F1 championship lead. And thanks to Unibet, some of the winners in the NFL so far today: the Jets over the Browns, the Saints too good for the Panthers, and the Patriots beating the Buccaneers. 3 games on currently, including the Seahawks leading the Cardinals.
Country meets Caulfield for the CF4 Stakes. Group 1 racing and family fun. November 15. Tickets at Ticketek. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. It's 9:31. Let's catch up with the racing manager for the VRC, Lee Jordan. Lee, good morning to you. It's, a couple of days after the final day of your carnival on Champions Day. How would you rate this week, in your eyes, compared to others?
How are you, Gareth?
Good, thanks, mate.
What a week. I mean, crowd was up, wagering on Cup Day. Hopefully we talk about it was enormous. Broadcast figures on performance tracks, like Half Yours, Jamie Mellon winning the Cup. Champions Day with Fisher after the last in all the weather. It was right up there. I think one of the best, really. It just had everything, as I said, off track and on track. So it was just a great week, really.
As a racing lover and a fan, I reckon someone said to me, and we were talking about this yesterday at the pub, he said, what was the best day from a racing perspective? And I said, Derby Day was brilliant. The Melbourne Cup, Half Yours, was the best story possible to come out of the Melbourne Cup, just with the storylines there. Tom Carberry's performance in an Oaks, we'll be talking about that for years to come with his filly. But the response from the punters, especially the younger punters, on Saturday in terrible conditions, cheering home the superstars of the sport with the superstar jockeys, told me that the game is in a beautiful spot at the moment, Lee. It was the best day.
Yeah, I mean, if we had the weather, Gareth, we had 65,000, we would have got 80. And I think it was fitting the three races were won by three champions.
Yeah.
Giga Kick on the way back in the sprint. Cher Wolf, we always knew was a champion, and he's heading that way for sure. And Via Sustina, she's won 12 Group 1s. She's won six Group 1s this year. No other horse in the world has won 6 Group 1s this calendar year. So that puts her in elite company. And I think the winners of those three races, that's taking nothing away from the horses that ran second, were just fitting for those three races. And I think too, Fisher after the last, I think that's probably set a footprint now that we need a big act after the last. It's just a great crescendo. And seeing everyone there, the young people, and the young people in the general admit area that are dressed up too in suits and ties, and all the ladies in really nice outfits, and out on the track, it just was a great atmosphere. I went down there myself, and it was just a great atmosphere. And I think that's the blueprint now. Really, we need that headline act after the final day is Champions Day. It really sets the scene, I think.
We're seeing a different generation of punters, basically, which is great to see. Like how they act differently, and as Pete Anthony has pointed out, and watching the carnival, not just at Flemington, they're identifying the best horses, and they're gravitating around those type of storylines, like the J-Max, the V Sistinas, the Giga Kicks. So they're jumping on board their favourite horse, and they're cheering them home, which is great to see.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we've seen a little bit of a glimpse of our wagering figures where Cup Day has just smashed all sorts of records. I mean, the record held for Cup Day and Cup itself was back in 2021 when Very Elegant won, and that was during COVID time when we thought, we'll never get to those heights again, and we've broken that, and our wagering's up like about 11% year on year, and broadcast figures are up like 10%. So it's showing that people are engaged, and you sort of got that feeling through the week that there's you would use the word renaissance in racing, in that the younger people are really taking to it. I think they like to get dressed up and come to the races and support the stars, like you're saying, and it's showing in the figures, and it's a great thing because it's such a wonderful sport.
And I reckon, like, if you have a look at I'd love to see the turnovers race by race for Melbourne Cup Day. You'll see a benchmark race, I reckon, or a few benchmark races that would be a high turnover race than some of the big Group 1s around the country, which proves that Melbourne Cup is in a world of its own.
There's no doubt. I mean, the Cup itself is up year on year by 16%. It's up like 247. I mean, it turns over 4 times more than any other race in Australia by far. And the 4 days itself, Gareth, contribute 10% to the total wagering in the year. And that's, when you think about it, 4 days to contribute 10% is quite phenomenal. And as you said, on the day, some of the benchmark races will be in the top 20, even maybe in the top 10 wagered races through the whole year. So, but that doesn't just benefit just Flemington. That benefits the whole industry.
Yeah, everyone.
So you got to think about it. We're not just the whole winners of that. Everyone's a winner of that. Those figures help everyone, from the other metro clubs to all the country clubs as well. So there's a real flow-on effect.
Well done with everything, Lee. The VRC should be very proud. Racing, not just in this state, but nationally should be proud. It's been one hell of a spring, but Flemington is the showpiece of this sport each and every year for those 4 days, and those 4 days didn't let this beautiful game down. So well done.
No, thanks, Gareth. And Gareth, don't forget, New Year's Eve is our next race meeting. 3:40 p.m. start, 7:40 p.m. finish. You can stay there, watch the fireworks on the Maribyrnong, and stay there till midnight. Watch the fireworks in Melbourne. It's the first ever New Year's Eve. So we'll be back with a bang.
All right then, mate. I look forward to that. New Year's Eve at Flemington should be Sunday. Thanks for that, mate.
Thanks, Gareth. See you, mate.
Mickey Gannon will join us with a Rosehill breakdown next.
Country meets Caulfield for the CF4 Stakes. Group 1 racing and family fun. November 15. Tickets at Ticketek. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall. It's now time for the Monday Breakdown with Mick Gannon.
We're at Rose Hill on Saturday. The highlight there was the 5 Diamonds, and what a mare she's turned out to be. And Vivier, she just keeps on stepping up to the plate. As I say hello to you, Mick.
Good morning, G. Yeah, she certainly does. We spoke about her only 3 starts ago as a winning chance. She managed to get over the top of Swift Falcon, and away she goes. Too good in the 5 Diamond, and plenty of prize money there to connections. Good to see.
Yeah, Vivier, so she was too good for Transatlantic. It was brave and militarised, loomed up, but finished third. Rise of Dawn was back and forth.
Yeah, spot on. Certainly did loom up. It was an even enough run race. Most horses got their chances. Transatlantic, pretty good up on speed, I would have thought, G, for a horse that we probably had a few question marks over. So he can continue to go on to bigger and better things. It was a good run, 59 kilos up on speed. Rise of Dawn probably just needs a bit of sting out of the ground. So hopefully a bit of rain about for him. Probably wrong time of the year now. Militarised, great, good run. But Vivier, too good, back to the inside. And look, Rose Hill, Gia played fair. I think most of the chat was, and the track walk information was more along the lines of lanes 4 to 10, but you could certainly win from inside as well. So winners came from lanes 1 to 13. It was a good day of racing there in Sydney. And you didn't have to be rails and run. 3 horses rails and run for lane 2, and another 3 horses you could be in lanes 3 and 4 in the run as well. Just a bit of cover obviously helps. But no, really good day of racing, and you can probably follow the form lines out of this with a fair bit of trust, G.
Derby racing continues to find good horses. They quinelled the Golden Gift with some 2-year-olds. Revengeance for Waterhouse and Bott defeating Spicy Miss for Kira Ma.
Yeah, they certainly do. Revengeance is in good form. Horses low flying. Spicy Miss's performance is pretty solid as well. Plagiarism on speed had his chance. Fair to say that. They went fast though, so a horse might be able to zip around a good setup and get the job done on a leader bias track. Defenseman, I think we can probably let him go around without us next time. Disappointing. Anthropoid wasn't too bad. Everything in behind them, G. Yeah. Probably just need a bit of a go out for a spell, come back, and they'll all improve though. Obviously, being most of them on debut.
Horses to follow.
G Tune was good in race 4, best of the day there in Sydney.
Well done, Mickey.
Really impressive win. It was good Dean Watling as well. So the boys we combined and away we went. 11 into $5, which is good. Bohemia in race 7, just like us, another horse who backed the double figure odds. It's a really slowly run race. Spotted them some 5 lengths at the 600 metres, flew home, couldn't get past Arctic Glamour of all horses. Gee, that was disappointing to see. But Mirabelle Rose and Miss Rambini, how disappointing were they? But Bohemia, we can put Bohemia and Tune in our black books and follow both of them with a bit of confidence.
Getting a little bit of feedback from our top 4 multi, the Macca's Run weekend preview top 4 multi, and you know, as captain, I'll take full responsibility. I would have backed you in there with Nadal because I would have chosen Nadal. Thought he was a big chance and he was disappointing. And it would have been more heartbreaking if we were still alive and Mr. Brightside let us down because he's never let anyone down ever in his life. So he finished outside of the top 4. But anyway, Nadal was backed off the map, so we weren't the only ones that were on the Nadal
train. It's a good point you make. Yeah, we got it wrong with Nadal, absolutely. I think everyone would have been over the moon pre-race with the 11s into 5s, but you do get them wrong occasionally from time to time. We get them wrong, G, but we've NCAP into Nadal last 2 weeks. We've gone for some value. Tell you what, though, Mr. Brightside getting rolled. Jeez, at a short price. Yeah. You know what I'll do? I'll start playing a straighter bat for the punters out there. We'll make sure we haven't missed a couple of times. We'll go straighter bat. We'll shorten the odds in, but you know what? Whoever's complaining, I'll probably whinge that the odds are too short.
No, it's all right. We'll bounce back next week.
We'll find a way.
Don't worry about
that.
We'll
be right.
Good on you, Mickey G. You've had a wonderful carnival. Thanks for your time as always.
Pleasure. Hey, good luck in New Zealand. Have fun.
Yeah, we will. I can't wait for it. Should be a lot of fun over the next week and a bit. Thanks for that, mate.
Thanks, mate.
There's Mickey Gannon. We'll take a break. We'll find you some winners today with Bag of Tips.
Country meets Caulfield for the CF4 Stakes. Group 1 racing and family fun. November 15. Tickets at Ticketek. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. The Giddy Up Bag of Tips for Oz Equipment Rentals. Supplying equipment to the construction, mining and roadworks industries. OzEquipment.com.
We'll find you a few winners today with Bag of Tips thanks to Oz Equipment Rentals, the Mighty Ultimate Hotel and Bet365. We're at Mornington this afternoon. Soft 5 rails out 5 metres. Michael Suey joins us for a track update. Good morning, Michael.
Morning, Gareth.
Bit of rain around. How much rain did you cop over the weekend?
Yeah, the weekend wasn't too bad. Only about 8 mils over the weekend, but 60 mils for the week. So quite a good amount. But 44 mils of that fell last Tuesday. So obviously getting away from that now. But yeah, 60 mils for the week and soft 5. And if that wind remains up for the day, even a chance of an upgrade to a good 4 at some stage.
All right then. So that's terrific news. Upgrade to a good 4. What are the conditions like this afternoon from a wind perspective?
Yes, the forecast is for 18-kilometre winds from the northwest, which if that remains up, like I said, that's sort of assisting to dry, and that will be a tailwind in the home straight, basically.
All right then. Looks like we're going to get a pretty good day's racing there.
Yeah, no, it does, and there are showers forecast for today, but they're saying that should hold off till after the last race, so which is good. And track, yes, like I said, it's come up good, going stick of 10.0 and soil moisture of 37.8%.
Good on you, Michael. Thanks for that update.
No worries. See you, Gareth.
There's Michael Suey there. Nick Noonan is with us thanks to racing.com for his best at Mornington today. Hello to you, Nick.
Hello, Gareth. Hello, everyone. Yeah, good card today from Mornington. There's a few nice horses going around, so hopefully you can hit the frame.
Your best bet, mate?
Best bet, going to go race number 3. I'm going to go with a few first starters today, actually. So race 3, number 5, Mission of Joy. I really liked her jump out at Pakenham where she won in fast time and in really good style as well. Her task has been made a lot easier with a lot of scratchings in the race, so the wide draw doesn't look as big a penalty as what it was. So I was happy to make her the best from Team Lindsay Park. Next best on the card, going to go with the Melbourne Cup winning trainers, the McAvoy team with Bass Relief in race number 2, a Godolphin filly. Again, similar story, jumped out well in fast time. Hopefully she can be somewhere near the speed and just a little bit probably nippy for her opposition. In terms of value, there probably wasn't a whole heap of value on the card, but I thought race 8, number 4, Norwoods. He's a horse that's a track specialist here at Mornington. He's barely missed a place here, 1,600 or 1,500 metres at Mornington. So maps for a nice run just in behind that speed. He looked the value runner of the day. Quaddy, first leg will take 3, 4, 6, 11 and 13. Second leg will go 2, 4, 5 and 9. Third leg will take the favourite 1 out, horse number 2.
Yep.
Then we'll come home with 2, 4 and 8 today at Mornington.
Beautiful, mate. What was your highlight of the weekend?
Oh, it was a fantastic week of racing, but probably going for the most recent one. But I thought the Champion Smile was a fantastic race. Just Pericles and Chael's battle down the straight was that was a great viewing. So that was probably one of the highlights for me, just from a spectacle point of view. That was a great watch.
Great stuff, mate. You've had a wonderful spring with your brother. Loved the first word and terrific there yesterday on correct weight as well. So hopefully still plenty more winners to be found in 2025 and bring on the All Stakes. Thanks for that, mate.
Thanks, Gareth.
Luke Hovannessian at Lismore Lakes, race 4, number 1, Monarchs Express, and Kahlua Girl, race 8, number 1, race 4, number 1, race 8, number 1 for Luke Hovannessian. Head to thetrots.com.au for expert harness racing tips and in-depth analysis for all major Victorian meetings. Darren Carroll likes race 5, number 1, Black Opal Jack, and race 6, number 6, Steelaby Dooley. So that's race 5, number 1, race 6, number 6. And Harness Racing New South Wales, the home of the Carnival of Cups, where Australian music royalty meets quality harness racing action. Amanda Rando likes race 3, number 10, Flight Lieutenant, race 3, number 10, and race 4, number 10, Michael Caine. So that's the tips there from Amanda. All of the big guns from Australia have arrived in New Zealand ahead of New Zealand Trotting Cup Day. And just having a look at the markets with the trots there ahead of the big day tomorrow at Addington. The favourite, Leap to Fame, he's still around $1.80 for the New Zealand Trotting Cup. He's into $1.60 now. Keenman's had support at $7.50. He's arrived there today. or overnight there in Christchurch. He looks $1 million, Kingman. I reckon he's the each-way play. Republican Party at $4.80, Merlin at $15. But it's going to be a great race. And then the trotting race, which is the Dominion race number, what race? It might be race 9. It'll come up shortly. What is that race there for the trotters? Dominion's race number 10. Jillaby Ballerini out to $2.80. Oscar Bonavina at 6. Muscle Mountain at $7.50. RC Phoenix 13 into 9. They tell me he's settled in the best of the Australians. He worked nicely there on the weekend at Annington. So you're getting $9 there. Bet and win $10. Mr. Love $12. So bring on Tuesday. It's going to be one hell of a day of harness racing. Deb from Preston says, Big G, some honourable mentions for performance of the day. Bjorn, just great for racing. Charwolf was almost the win of the week, but surely it goes to the young punters on the rail cheering home a few winners. They were wild. Great to see. Obviously not many of them on Charwolf. They were a bit quieter when the big boy got home. That's from Nev. Sensational there. Now, we've got Waitley joining, of course, Giddy up at 10 o'clock. I think Johnny O'Neill's got some news regarding a few of his horses might be heading to Perth as well. What we know from the horses that might be heading to WA for the carnival, it's just Overpass and Giga Kick basically that have been booked on that flight. So the winner bottom's going to be some race. I think Libertad's going that way as well for the Archibalds. But no Mr. Brightside, he's in the paddock after not performing there on Saturday in the Champions Mile. So no Mr. Brightside. It'd be great if Light Infantryman heads to Perth to defend his Northerly title. If he does so, that's $17 with Bet365 is one hell of a bet. Johnny O'Neill will provide those details hopefully for us straight after the 10 o'clock news.
Good morning, I'm Nath Gardner with SEN News. The AFL CEO says he's received positive feedback from the clubs after announcing a finals wildcard weekend starting from next year. At the end of the home and away rounds, ladder positions 7 and 10 and 8th and 9th will face off during the pre-finals bye. Andrew Dillon believes footy supporters will love it.
Particularly the final series this year where we had pretty much every game as close enough to a sellout. Our fans love finals games, so we think it provides opportunities and provides hope for our fans.
A WA-made concussion helmet will be tested on pro athletes in a major upcoming research trial. The AFL, NRL and Cricket Australia have already shown an interest in the product. PM Anthony Albanese is considering whether to extend the $150 power bill rebates, which are due to finish at the end of this year. Energy costs are the second biggest source of financial stress for Australians, according to new research. Labor's Tanya Plibersek has told Seven the cost of living crisis is a priority for the government, but wouldn't confirm if the rebate will stay.
That's a question for the Prime Minister and the Treasurer, but all of us in the government are 100% focused on cost of living, and that's why we've been there with the energy bill relief.
The latest inductees into the US Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the White Stripes, Outkast, Salt and Pepper and Soundgarden. Black Hole Sun. Yep, and there's just 4 days until the Beach Volleyball World Championships being hosted in Adelaide. SEN.com.au Sport is next. Thanks to Unibet, gamble responsibly. The LA Rams are leading the 49ers currently, so too the Lions over the Commanders and Seattle with a big lead over the Cardinals. And Oscar Piastri's World Championship hopes are slipping away after McLaren teammate Lando Norris won the Brazilian Grand Prix this morning. Norris now leads Piastri by 24 points with 3 races to go.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. The Monday Means Test with Wayne Hawkes and John O'Neill.
The big finish to our combined means test across the Spring Racing Carnival. SEN Track and RSN together with Waitley and Giddy Up. Jared Waitley and Gareth Hall with you. Hello, Gareth.
Hello, Jared.
Dried out?
Yes.
What a day Saturday was.
I've never really experienced anything like it, but we'll get to that a little later on.
Clearly the worst weather day I've ever experienced on track. I've seen storms and rain, but it was just miserable and freezing, and yet made for a spectacular backdrop to the heavyweight racing and then the Fisher concert at the end, which was just wild.
Do you want to get to my King's Gambit now?
In a moment.
Okay.
Johnny O'Neill, welcome.
Thank you, G. And it was 22 degrees, nice warm leather couch, and the coverage was extraordinary, I thought. So I did feel sorry. And who would have thought, Jared, at 60 years of age, I'd begin howling. I am now a howler.
Right.
Just to let everybody know, a howler.
What
after Chia Wolf.
Yes.
So every time it races now, I'm committing to Brave Pride, who sent me a very nice message that Hawksy went down and wound him up on. So congratulations, Brave, you did. And Joe and the owners. I haven't seen a group of owners carry on as much since some lunatic friends of mine with mummifying the Caulfield Cup. So good on them. It was unbelievable. And as I say, I'm now a committed howler every time it races.
And Wayne Hawkes, I think there's something special about the last race. You won the last race. Well done.
Morning, Jared. Morning, guys. Yes, small fish are certainly sweet. And as one of the owners said, you win a race cup week as bragging rights. That's for sure and certain. But I have to concur with you, Jared. I've been going to Flemington for the last 25 years. For 52 weeks of the year, 25 years, and I reckon that's as bad a morning and race day as I can absolutely remember. We remember the McKinnon Stakes, as you said, when So You Think won. But this day, it just came in sideways, and you don't normally have rain and wind together because normally the wind blows it away. Not this day, boys and girls.
Salute to the 65,000 who went and sort of gave themselves over to the absurdity of it all.
And what about when you thought, I've outsmarted people, I brought an umbrella. The bloody thing was useless because it kept flipping inside out. Yep, it was amazing. But you know what the amazing part was driving in for race 4? Obviously, the girls had already picked their outfits. Young girls, short dresses on, freezing, didn't care. That's the part I couldn't get, that so many people were just rolling in like as if it was a summer's day. Now, the only people in fairness, that actually don't give a stuff about the weather are the 9 winners of the day. It could have a typhoon straight after you've won, and the owners don't care.
Oh, those blokes down at the winners post for Via Sistina, they'd given themselves over to. They didn't care how wet it was. They were throwing their drinks over each other and everything. All right, the King's Gambit, Gareth's ode to all that's taken place.
Well, you basically said it all. That is the King's Gambit on the worst possible day that you could have for a race day. Turned out to be one of the great days for racing because everyone who went there, obviously Fisher played at the end, which was a massive win there for the VRC, but I've never seen people engaged in the sport like they've been engaged this week, and that's from a racing fan and lover. That's what I'm most proud of. You saw Via Sistina and you saw Char Wolf and Giga Kick lift over the line to win these Group 1s, and I think Peter Anthony summed it up best when he talked to us this morning on the breakdown. He goes, the next generation of racing fan are definitely out there, and they seem to be recognising the superstars of the sport. So they will cheer home J-Mac and Via Sistina. They all love Giga Kick, and the rule there at Flemington when he went head-to-head with Magic Time was something else. So I think racing had one of its best ever weeks, and I can recall, Jared.
As a showpiece carnival, it was everything you'd want. So 287,000 people across the 4 days. It was illuminating on a few fronts. So Gay always says that the only time you ever buy a new dress or heels or the new suit is for a wedding or to go to the races. And people get that.
Yeah.
So that silly idea years ago about trying to lessen the dress code. No. That's why people are going to it. And the honour roll is as good an honour roll Group 1s that Flemington's ever seen, I reckon. Tentyrus, Future Star, Observer, finally a great winner of the Derby. Pride of Jenny once more with feeling. Half Yours, an unforgettable cup. Strictly Business from Ballarat Maiden to Group 1 at headquarters in 2 weeks. Giga Kick restored to former glory. Chill Wolf, the next big thing, one of them. And Via Sustina, the best of the best. Is that there can't have been too many Melbourne Cup carnivals that have produced such a set of Group 1.
Carline would have loved this week with the storylines that Flemington produced.
All right. The big issue, the best horse in the country remains Via Sustina. 2 months ago, Bruce McAvaney said she'll still be the best horse in the country come the end of the Spring Carnival, and he was right.
At the 300 metres, here comes the star Via Sustina. She lets down from Tom Kidd, Pierre and Zambardo. 200 to go. Via Sustina, 2 legs. Zambardo running a race from Pierre and Tom Kidd. Via Sustina, 100 metres to go. She's got the class and she's got the legs, the stamina to win. Another star turn from Via Sustina, 3 legs.
She deserves her champion status, and I thought her a dual Cox Plate winner is very satisfying, as well as she deserves that mantelpiece. She sits along with some of the greats that have ever graced our racetracks, and I think she thoroughly deserves that because she's been a long servant and a fantastic one at that.
The big issue for Alex Scott and staff to sell your livestock or sell your home. She challenges the imagination now, Johnny, is that's 16 starts in Australia. 15 in those have been in Group 1. She's won 11 at the top level. She's only raced here for 20 months. She has won 2 Cox Plates, 2 Champion Stakes, and a Queen Elizabeth. Imagine if she'd come here like Maccabi Diva did as a yearling and had her whole career on our shores. She has graduated to modern day great.
We did identify that all pretty early, I think.
You did, to be
fair. Just her turn of foot. She's just a magnificent mare, and to think at 8 years old you're able to compete the way that she does. The thing that she reminds me of, and I think the thing that people love about her, is we've gone through the Winx era, we've gone through the Black Caviar era, and they were perfect. In this instance, she's a little imperfect, which is what we like. She's like the champions of the old days that can get beaten but then can come back and rise again when it really counts. And those type of horses, the better loosen ups and the superimposers, and those type of horses of the past, the mannerisms, and even Maccabi Diva, I suppose, because she was beaten in some of those other races leading in as well. It was just incredible. I think as Aussies, we get this tall poppy syndrome, so we sit back and we think, well, we've got to get her beat today because it's pouring rain and she hates the wet. So we dish that up and she deals with that and she wins again. So I just thought it was a wonderful race, and she is a champion. There is no doubt about that. It'll be interesting to see whether that is the last time we see her. 8 rising 9. I would imagine she'll probably go to the Broodmare.
No, she'll definitely go to the Autumn.
Oh, well, there you go. So there, she's going to run. She'll run till there. And, I mean, can she come back at 9 and contest a Cox Plate?
So Wayne is, as an ageing horse, she clearly was a bit harder to get up this preparation. And Chris Waller, he told us all the way through, is he did think she would be better in the Champions than she was in the Cox Plate because it had just all taken a bit longer with an older horse.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. To go on what you said, Johnny, that's the Black Caviar and the Winx problem. If there's a problem, win, 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 win. I mean, there's not many Usain Bolts that in Black Caviars that all but go through undefeated in their whole career, and I think it's a good thing that they get beat, not as a connection, but as a racing person, because I mean, if Jenny just goes to the front and just leads and wins, it gets boring, doesn't it? So all of a sudden you go, Via Sustina hasn't come up as good. There was no doubt about that. She was not as dominant as what she was, and there wasn't many people that went, she was fine. She was still going gangbusters. I mean, I said it the other week. She beat Buckaroo. Now, I would never have thought Buckaroo would be a Cox Plate winner, and he still isn't. And that's not bagging Buckaroo, but she got the job done. But she had all the favours in the Cox Plate, and everything worked out perfect for her. You go to Flemington, you go, well, they were her worst performances nearly of her Australian racing career on a wet deck that she doesn't like. But I suppose the difference was that if you actually look at the track itself, they weren't throwing huge, massive clods up. It was wet, you were getting in deep, but the track was amazing. And what she did was it just showed that's why she is the champion racehorse of the country. And the old, when you start doubting the champions, and we use that word too loosely in every form of sport, when you doubt the champions, they're the ones that bounce back on the big day.
So how are we going to rate her? As she might have one campaign left potentially in her career. We've already got a big body of work. So she challenges the imagination because it's such a brief but spectacular period of time.
So in 5 years' time, when people ask me about or we talk about Via Sistina, I think we'll say that she's one hell of a grand final horse, that on the biggest stage when it mattered most, she never let you down. She was trained by an amazing trainer who's got this ability, especially with his mares, to keep them going each preparation and making sure that they're peaking when it matters most. And I think we'll talk about that Cox Plate victory when she blew them away in track record time and won by 8 lengths after the week that she's had. So she's a champion. She goes down as a modern day great. There's no doubt about that. She has to be in the top 10 horses that I've seen in my time in this country.
Unplaced in 4 starts, had 29 starts, 16 wins and 9 placings. She's only been unplaced four times in her life.
Yeah.
And she's raced all over the world.
And it's funny, for the first time being at the track when she's competed, it was recognised that she was a genuine superstar. It felt like the public was really behind her. Where in other races, there'd always be another horse that would be more popular than her there on the day. Maybe the Cox Plate day, that Roar was unbelievable, but I reckon it was a fitting moment for her to do what she did there at Flemington, and especially with the fans getting behind her.
I think she's breaking all the rules too, and this is why I asked the question, Jared. If she comes back in the autumn and brains them, does she go on and run in the Cox Plate as a 9-year-old mare? It's something that I would say has never been done. From a Fields of Omaha perspective, I'm not sure whether he ran in the Cox Plate as a 9-year-old. He definitely would have been 8, I would have thought. So it'd be interesting to see. But why can't Via Sistina come back and do that if she has a wonderful autumn?
How old was she when she first started racing? Question without notice there, but she mightn't have been young. And if you look at most horses today, in the year 2000, we had 1,500 2-year-old runners by February. If you look at 2025, we had 748. So it's half. The 2-year-olds have halved.
Jeez, you've been doing the stats this morning. What have you been doing?
Our horses.
He only did train one winner over the carnival. He's a stats man now.
It's Waitley's show. Come on, what are you talking about? I'm trying to impress here. What do you think?
She was foaled in March 2018 and raced for the first time in May 2021. Yep. So it was a 3-year-old.
So she still got there early.
There's no chance she'll race in the spring. There's no chance.
Why is there no chance?
Because Chris Waller's got Autumn Glow and a few other stars.
But it's not about Chris
I know,
Waller.
but as a 9-year-old man.
I would have said the same as an 8-year-old man.
What's she doing? Can I just say this?
Yeah.
History says she will not be a good broodmare. Now, history says that because Winx is one of the greatest pedigrees to go to stud. So it's going to be very damn interesting how she's going to perform at stud as a broodmare. And a lot of these mares haven't been overtaxed, but they always show you that they left it on the racetrack. She is a racehorse, Gareth.
Yeah.
So she's there to race. And if she's sound... She's had 29 race starts.
This is the point.
There will be a horse running today at Mornington that has had 57 race starts and won 2 races.
I hope you're right.
So what about if she does come back as a 9-year-old? Isn't that a
story?
Does. And the other thing is, she comes back to Flemington where she's just blown them away on the weekend for the Cox Plate next year. I'm in her camp. I want to bring her back. I want to see a 9-year-old mare.
It's a 35-year-old footballer, though, just the
same. Yeah, but that's okay.
Well,
maybe she's got Pendlebury. Maybe she is. She might be Boomer Harvey.
I'm just having a look at the Cox Plate market for next year.
Get away. Get away.
She's $4. She's $7.50.
Can she get back and win the Queen Elizabeth and go 2 Cox Plates, 2 Champion Stakes, 2 Queen Elizabeths?
Are you going to doubt her?
Final piece.
Are you going to doubt her?
So the challenge will be on.
Don't doubt her.
Is because they're coming through.
But
it's perfect.
With that philosophy, then you would have raced Winx on.
But who says Winx couldn't have raced on?
No, that's what I mean. When's enough is enough?
Yeah, but the thing is, what we don't know is, and only Chris Waller and the connections will know, are those little niggly injuries getting worse? And the thing is, there's very few horses that will retire perfectly sound, 110% sound. It's like any athlete. There's little niggly issues that you manage all year.
The big issue, whether it's selling your livestock or selling your home, contact Alex Scott and staff today. And a 50th Group 1 win as combination for James McDonald and Chris Waller. So 54 is the record. Just even recounting it tells you how epic these things. So Tommy Smith and George Moore, so two immortals of the turf, that's what they're closing in on and would look certain to break.
I wonder what mark they'll get to.
Can they get to 100?
No, not to 100.
Why can't they? How old's J-Max?
J-Max early 30s. He'll go to Hong Kong once he beats all those records. There's no doubt about that. So they've probably got another 10 left in them before he goes to Hong Kong, J-Max.
10 what? Years?
10 Group 1s, yeah. They're probably averaging 4 or 5 a season now.
What's he going in June next year or something, is he?
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
He's just
What do you know, Gareth?
Yeah.
What do you know, Gareth?
Yeah, what do you know, Gareth? Have you got
reckon-
information there?
No,
Gareth?
he said this on the record before. Once he surpasses George Moore's record for consecutive Sydney Metro premierships, and then he gets past Ollie's Group 1 record, and he's ticked all those boxes off, then he'll go to Hong Kong because he's achieved everything that he wanted to achieve.
Geez, wouldn't you be sitting here with the premier trainer in the country, with all of the beautiful stock of 2-year-olds, with a stack of weight for age horses, with Mr. Yang dropping in stars like this, and you sit and get first pick all the time, and you can go home and lay by the pool in Sydney. What would you go to Hong Kong for?
Yeah.
What for? He'd go up there whenever he wants.
And he still gets that 3-month contract when it matters most in Hong Kong.
And,
so you might be right.
And he can leave Randwick on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And
He's
he
probably
jumps
trying
on
to
a
get
plane
away from
Saturday
you,
night.
Gareth.
He goes
Yeah.
there Sunday and rides the best couple of horses in Hong Kong, and he flies back Monday and he's there for track work Tuesday.
If Gareth was hanging out of my back pocket every time I came down there, I'd
Oh,
probably go to
stop
Hong Kong
it.
too. I would have thought.
Does he
Spring
really?
racing means tests on SEN Track and RSN. Big race integrity, unanswerable questions, and the beaten favourites coming up.
racing and family fun. November 15. Tickets at Ticketek. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Pericles under the arches. Pericles takes the lead at the 200 metres. Going with it, Chow Wolf. Pericles at the 100. Chow Wolf won't give in. Pericles, Chow Wolf coming back. Chow Wolf off the canvas and Pericles, Chow Wolf. Chow Wolf or Pericles in a photo.
He's an amazing horse, and just so proud of him. I've thought for a long time he's the best horse I've trained, and just with these last 2 wins, he's certainly cemented his spot there. I'd love to be back here for the Cox Plate. Whether or not 2,000 is as good at 2,000 as he is at a mile, we'll find out in the autumn, probably in the Queen Elizabeth. But just a great way to finish the year.
Big race integrity. Chow Wolf, who's now won an Epsom, 2 King Charles, and a Champions Mile on debut in Melbourne. This time last year, he was the next best horse. They stayed out of the Cox Plate, which was disappointing for the Cox Plate. Had his time in the wilderness, which has cost you two blokes badly, and then strikes back with his back-to-back wins with the King Charles and the Champions Mile. He's a beauty.
I'm first, am I?
Yeah,
okay.
go on.
Righto. What I said was, I'm going to say this. Stop laughing. What I
Now,
said
be
was,
honest here, because I love
am.
this horse.
It's my
right?
go. My
I've had
go
to stick
first.
up for
It's
you.
my
Come
go
on.
first, because they're all listening. Trust me. I said I think he has the potential to be the next Via Sistina, and all I've done is been dragged in with your crap. Seriously, Johnny. I've been no. It's true. I've been dragged in with you. I said he's got the potential to be the next Via Sistina. I also said that I thought he was racing like a horse that wanted a bit of ground. I mean, to me, he was looking like he might have been a Caulfield Cup horse, and that's not to say that he might not. I mean, if Bar Cummings had a trained Black Caviar, he wouldn't have kept her at 1,200. He would have stretched her to a mile just to see whether she would run a mile. So.
She wouldn't have won all those races in a row.
No, she wouldn't. But you don't get paid any more for doing that, for the record. So, you know what? Hats off to Chow Wolf. He has done the most ridiculous job. He's been under so much pressure. He's a back marker. He doesn't jump and take a posse early and up front. He sits back. He's had a couple of average rides from Chad. They stuck with him on a bad day that they stuck with him. And that's never easy, because when J-Mac makes a mistake, it's okay, it's J-Mac. You know, Chad Schofield makes a mistake and it's front page news, and that's never fair, but that's how it is. Chow Wolf did the job, got the job done, and the great thing was that was his first time in Melbourne, first time ever away and coming to Melbourne, and he got the job done fair and square. And can I just say, there they were. The race was over. Joe never. I was in the scales outside the stewards' room when the race was being run and won, and all I heard Joe was go with about four strides to the winning post. He was quiet. And then after the race, he was outside, did his interviews, and then Ben Mellum had looked at the stewards' footage. I think it was about the 1,400. There was some sort of interference there. Joe come walking up to me and said, this is not going to be a good way to get beaten in Group 1 interference at the 1,400. I said, mate, there'll be no problems there. I said, you'll be right. And you should have seen how relieved he was after he won. And you know what? Well done. Well done.
So I lead this in again, #Howler. Is what I'm now doing, because I'm well and truly on the team.
It would have been hard to beat in a Northerly.
Well, it would have been hard to beat in the Northerly. So it's run 4th first up in the Winks. Huge run, and we all jumped on. We said he's back. This horse is a freak. I apologise for my behaviour. I've then tuned in the mile, second up.
Do you
when
back
it's got
him?
beaten, yes. When it's been beaten 2.5 lengths behind Lindemann. Then I'm probably jumping off, but I wasn't happy. I then tuned into the 7 Stakes, where he runs 3rd, gets beat 2 lengths behind Fangirl and Lindemann. Then I'm not happy with him. But I tune in again 3 times in a row in the Epsom, where he gets beat 3.5 lengths. So then I throw all the toys out of the cot, and it wings the King Charles and the Champions Mile. So I probably am eating humble pie here, and for brave pride, I'm going to buy you a $500 dinner at Mr. Wong's.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do, Brave. You sent me a nice video. You weren't too abusive. Matter of fact, you were quite nice.
He was
with
humble,
Hawksy
actually.
winding you up.
No, he was
so,
actually
mate,
very
you
humble.
reach out to Hawksy, and I will organise a $500 voucher for you to go to Mr. Wong's with a few of the stable staff. Well done. Well done to Joe Pride and the owners. I was just going through there, as I said earlier, I couldn't believe just how much. I mean, it's unbelievable to win a Group 1. It's unbelievable to win a race anytime. But to see the owners, the joy, the happiness was just extraordinary. So well done to Chow Wolf. And as I said, #Howler. I'm a howler now.
Yeah. We want to see him in a Cox Plate, Gareth.
we'll see him in a Cox Plate next year. Well, he'll go to the Queen Elizabeth in the autumn, and we're going to hope he performs well on that race because that will be his trial whether Joe Pride goes towards another King Charles or he heads towards a Cox Plate. But the secret to this horse, and you don't have to be Einstein, you two, to work it out, is that he needs Pride of Jenny in his races. He needs a solid run race. And if he gets that, he's got that aerobic capacity to be too good for his opposition. But when he settles in the back of the field like he does, and those races he got beat that Johnny talked about, they were slowly run races that makes it very difficult for him to get into the contest. But
and every other horse, Via Sustina's no different.
But also the blinkers have made a big difference with him. There's no doubt. He's gone bang, bang since he's put them on.
But he needs Pride of Jenny or he needs a truly run race.
She won't be there.
No.
She's not going to be there.
Not in the Cox Plate. The Cox Plate's always a race that there's genuine pace anyway.
Yeah. Yep. So he deserves his moment from here, but that's a hell of a record. So I'm a huge admirer of his, and now I want to deal with the whip rule.
Yes.
So Chad Schofield's fined $35,000, which is just under half what he gets in prize money. So he uses the whip 9 times prior to the 100 metres, which is 4 more than is permitted. So that's just blatant. Doesn't care. Needs the whip to get the horse going, who's been headed by Pericles. And the only disincentive is a financial disincentive. If you're going to have the whip rule, you have to enforce it. It's just straight out disqualification.
Well, you've got to put that into the rules of racing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then you will never have the whip rule breached again. If Chad knows that if he uses it more than the 5 times permitted, he's out of the race, he won't do it ever.
No.
But he uses it because that horse needs to lift against Pericles, who's going to beat him. But we pretend that this is okay. It's not. You either have the rule or you don't. It can't be the Pirates' guidelines. No. You either have it and enforce it or you don't worry about it.
So the whip rule is there to make sure the game looks cleaner, obviously with the welfare situation, the perception of the game. But unless you put into the rules that the stewards have got the power to disqualify or relegate, then you can't protest because there's no steward in the world that you can go into a steward's room with the optics and say, well, if Chad Schofield didn't hit that horse too much, then that would have been the difference in the race.
It's just an absolute.
Correct.
This is the amount of times you're permitted to use it, and if you breach it, you're out.
So you've got to put that into the rules. It's black and white.
That's right.
And so there's no protest. It's just the stewards go, you broke the rule, you're relegated. But the rules at the moment is that you have to protest, and then the stewards, no steward is going to uphold a protest like that. So you either change the rules of racing or you make it clear to the punters out there that if a jockey breaks the whip rule, they're going to be hurt financially, but we're never going to uphold a protest.
Which is where we are.
Yes, at the moment,
because if you were, it has to, they have to just go, what do we want from this? And either scrap it or actually enforce it.
It's in a grey spot at the moment because if you have back Benny Mellon.
It's always been
and Benny Mellon comes back and goes, well, I didn't win that because I didn't want to break the whip rules. Now, that wasn't the case on Saturday, but then if you back Pericles, you're dirty on the situation because Chad Schofield has broken the rules and won the race.
And your jockey didn't.
Your jockey didn't.
Yeah, but hang on. He got penalised for that, though. The rule that stands now is, and he got penalised.
100%.
What Jared's saying
Where do they
is
get the 35,000 from? They just make it up.
Half.
Yeah, but why half?
And that's a good financial penalty.
In the Group 1s, they get bigger penalties, and it was half of his financial
So the question I asked,
success.
though, the financial penalty, is it really a financial penalty? Because if I'm the owner and I've won and I know he's just lost half his...
Not every owner's going to chip in.
Sort him out.
Well, you just sling him.
Well, he's the only reason you won the race, so why wouldn't he?
Well, of course.
Anyway, so it's either a rule or it's not, but you can't live in this ridiculous halfway house.
We can't, just quickly, we can't lose the whip because the jockeys, it's a bit like a choker chain for a dog.
No, we know that.
You need it there, but it's one or the other.
Try McCafe's new blend today. Here's Nathan, the newsroom.
It would have
Good morning. Making SEN News headlines. AFL boss Andrew Dillon says he's received positive feedback from the clubs for the finals wildcard weekend. It will start from next year. John Laws is being remembered for his stellar broadcasting career that lasted over 70 years after his death at his Sydney home aged 90. A WA-made concussion helmet will be tested on pro athletes in a major upcoming research trial, with the AFL, NRL and Cricket Australia showing interest. And research has found a daily cup of coffee could help those with an irregular heartbeat. Coming up, sen.com.au sport. Thanks to Unibet, gamble responsibly. The LA Rams are leading the 49ers currently, so too the Lions over the Commanders, and Seattle with a big lead over the Cardinals. And Oscar Piastri's World Championship hopes are slipping away after McLaren teammate Lando Norris won the Brazilian Grand Prix this morning. Norris now leads Piastri by 24 points with 3 races to go.
Country meets Caulfield for the CF4 Stakes. Group 1 racing and family fun. November 15. Tickets at Ticketek. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
The beaten favourites, one of our categories on the spring racing means test. Gareth, Mr. Brightside and Pride of Jenny on the heavy track were the disappointments in the mile.
Pride of Jenny just didn't handle the going. She went as quick as she did in the early part of that race like she did last week, but she couldn't go on that deck. And Mr. Brightside, there must be something wrong with him because he doesn't run that bad. And JD Hayes reporting today that he's off to the paddock. They'll try and get him up for another campaign in the autumn, but he's definitely not going to Perth. So he was just too bad to be true, basically, the old boy.
He looked the old boy, didn't he? First time in his career that he looked the old boy on Saturday.
Yeah. But you can't write him off just yet, I reckon. I don't know what they're going to do with him, but Pride of Jenny, like this autumn, hopefully it'll be like a farewell tour. We won't see Pride of Jenny again. We won't see Mr. Brightside if they both turn up, and there's a strong possibility at the moment they will. And Vega Sistina, she's the other star that we'll say goodbye to in the autumn.
Liam just did an extraordinary job with that track.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, some horses just did not get through it. And clearly both of those horses didn't. We know the Brightside sort of loves the sting out, but he just didn't handle it. I mean, I know we were tipping Nadal pretty heavily, or we were too. We thought he just didn't go a yard in it. It's just way, way too heavy.
Different tracks are different. And so an 8-1 is different to an 8 somewhere else. But the bottom line is this. They are right at the end. It's grand final day and some for some of these horses. So they're not afterthoughts, but they are not their, let's say, Cox Plate grand final. So Jared and I spoke at length about this on Saturday on the phone. We just were going, you know what, Jared said, you said, Pierre had the best wet track form of any horse in the race. Jenny's form was good enough, and so was Brightside's. So I don't know whether it was more that they just didn't handle it. I think it was just a combination of both, that they were just absolutely spent and they were buggered. And you know what? They might have done the same thing on a dry track.
All right, we'll salute Giga Kick, and they got that right next on the spring racing means test.
Country meets Caulfield for the CF4 Stakes. Group 1 racing and family fun. November 15. Tickets at Ticketek. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Taking the lead, Magic Time with Giga Kick. Magic Time and Giga Kick. Magic Time draws ahead in front. Giga Kick won't give in. Digs in for the fight and wins. Giga Kick has won it. Zara again. Magic Time second. Jolly Star third.
They got that right. How good a training performance has it been from Clayton Douglas 2 years on to get Giga Kick back to his Group 1 winning best? Wayne Hawkes.
That's about as good as what you get. There is the horse. They blame Craig Williams when he ripped a muscle behind at Moonee Valley and he went to paddock and he's had, nothing, really not much go right for him. I reckon the 400 they're thinking, God damn it, we got nothing going right for us here either. Mark Zara, cool as a cucumber. Mark saw some backsides, Tentyrus, and then with this horse Giga Kick, he didn't have a clear run and, gee, it was centimetre perfect, but, he's an older horse, had 19 race starts and it's just a real credit to Clayton because the pressure is on when you've arguably got a horse that is absolutely good enough to be in the Everest, and that is the benchmark. Didn't work out timing-wise, went to Caulfield, waited for this day. You know what? It's just an amazing training performance. And to imagine looking at this horse for 3 years going, I got probably the best sprinter in the country, and we just can't get him right for whatever reason. Hats off to you, Clayton Douglas.
Yeah, I agree. I saw him trial, and Clayton, you'll probably pick me up on this, but I'm pretty sure it was at Mornington. If not, it was at Belnaring, very early, just on some tapes. And I thought he only trialled fair. There was a couple of other horses in the race. I think Anthony might have had a runner in the race, and anyway, in the trial. And I just
think
thought
it was
to
against
myself,
Tropicus.
Yeah, that's right, correct. And I thought to myself, oh, maybe he hasn't come up. Geez, he's a good old horse, this horse. And we say he's an old horse. He's not that old.
No, he's not.
But yeah, and it's just because clearly he's had so many problems. So to have somebody so dedicated to a horse to get him back and enable him to be able to compete at the elite level, as you're saying, Hawksy, your man Jonathan Munns, who you've got to come out of the bushes and now he's at Melbourne Racing Club, puts a stack of money in, absolutely deserves the win. I'm sure Clayton's old man Rocket was running around like a uncle. Sorry, not father. Uncle was running around like a raving lunatic.
Does he go to Perth?
So good luck to them. He does.
Yeah, so I think that's great for the racing game because since Sydney and Melbourne have dominated the Australian racing calendar, places like Perth and Adelaide, Brisbane's been okay, but they've missed out on the superstars heading to Perth. I think it's important for the game that we get these type of genuine Group 1 stars to travel interstate. And they'll pack out the joint now and win a bottom day to see Giga Kick take on Overpass. And I think it's
Did
important.
you take the $11?
No, I missed out.
You missed out.
No, that's for the Gold Rush.
Oh, the Gold Rush. When's that?
That's 4 weeks or 3 weeks. No, 2 weeks after the winner bottom.
Right, okay.
Would you take him? I wouldn't.
I would.
I wouldn't. I'd just get him ready for the TJ and then get him ready for the Everest because he only needs to have about 4 runs before the Everest and you go on a trip to Perth, a trip home. Myself, no way would I go to Perth.
I'm glad you're not training him then.
Yeah, but it's only worth $1.5 million. If the race was worth $5 million, right?
Yeah.
It was worth $5 million. You'd get Briasser and those horses to go.
It's
simple.
But he's going to
Prize
win.
money gets the great horses.
But he's going to win those races.
Prize money and Melbourne Cup Spring Carnival gets the great horses.
Jonathan Munns has got a huge office in his place in Toorak.
He's a billionaire.
And he was hoping, he's not worrying about the money, he was hoping to be able to have the whole wall covered in Giga Kick Group 1 photos. So he's had a few hiccups on the way through, but I think you'll get there, JM. I think you'll get there,
John Kanga on the wall, didn't he?
Maybe Briasser should go the winner bottom. He might be a better chance.
He's in the paddock.
Maybe he'd be a better chance to win a winner bottom than a TJ.
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's get to our yeses, shall we?
Yes! 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 Yes, yes, yes! Yes, yes, yes!
I'll go first with Mark Zara. 8 for the Carnival, 3 Group 1s. Just showing us what it really looks like at grand final time. Next best was 3. Just massive salute to Mark Zara.
Yeah, totally agree.
He's a beast. This time of the year, we did call it early, and Kieran won the trainer of the Carnival, so congratulations to him. Hawksy's kicking me under the desk.
Have a sort of word.
And I just wanted to mention Chris Waller and Charlie with Via. Just an extraordinary result, really, to be able to bring her down, and just incredible to be involved and be able to watch these horses run at the most elite and prime times of the year. So
said it on Wednesday, and I'm going to say it again. Liam O'Keefe and that track,
Mm-hmm.
amazing. And the track's done. They're ripping it up shortly. Like, I mean, you couldn't do any better than what those people at Flemington did. The rest of the country needs to have a good hard look at themselves as far as tracks go.
Mate, they wouldn't have raced in Sydney. They wouldn't have raced. There's
Mate,
no chance. They would have
last
called the
Saturday,
races
there
off.
was 13 mil of rain and it was bottomless. 13 mil.
Yeah.
Yep, it's
My
outstanding.
yes, the CF4 Stakes this week to get Jimmy Starr taking on Angel Capital at the end of the spring. I think it's good for the game.
All right. Oh, no.
Oh, no. See you walking around like it's a funeral. I had to do
Obviously, this is Nadal. It might take me, it's going to take me 9.5 months to get over that, I think.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It was we're just waiting for a bit of give in that ground for him. The horse is absolutely airborne, and my dear friend Ethan Brown ran me after the races and said, after we travelled 20 yards, Johnny, we had no hope. He just never got through the ground at all. It was way, way too heavy. So all I can say, Jared, is maybe we go to that meteorite Saturday week that we won last year.
I've got no money left.
Oh,
John, I'll watch and cheer for you,
Right.
but I got nothing.
Okay,
left.
right.
That is the best segue.
So, well, just before you do that, my John McNeil, who had no luck on our horse in the Melbourne Cup, did the best he could do. Rode a horse called Ray Magnerio.
Oh, yes.
And let me tell you, I did, seriously, I had to leave the races early because I did
Where's
throw
Raymond?
up all
Where's
over
Raymond?
myself.
I forgot about that.
Oh,
Yes.
I didn't forget about it. How did it get beat?
What did he?
Like,
so
all he had to do was
he
just
went
wait
from
on the
inside
outside
to the outside.
Yeah, correct.
And then he changed his mind and ran I've never seen a horse go diagonally up the straight.
And just, I'd hate to see what the sectional was because it let go like a rocket ship.
So he either had to stay on the inside
Correct.
to start with, or stay.
So I know and then I had a look at that overhead again, which I think is unbelievable. And there's a bit
So
of
good,
traffic
the
on the
overhead.
outside,
Yes.
but you just had to go to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
outside with the traffic, and it was going to open because you just had to blow a whistle and they would have got out of your way.
Yeah,
but
well
anyway,
done. Well
Just
done.
look, just
I've
look what
forgotten
Mark,
about
just
that.
look what Mark Zara did on Tentyrus and Giga Kick. Just wait your turn.
Yeah.
Anyway, no money in my
Mike,
pocket
Have
after
you got
that.
something?
Yes.
George.
Lucky
I
you're a
didn't
good
get to
comp
Greg
because you're a
Goldie.
shocking punter, Waitley.
Terrible.
Go away.
Go away, Waitley. Waitley, go away.
Right, so the people that don't know, Jared and I always put in 500 every year on the day before
I shouldn't have
Derby
given
Day.
numbers, but
Well, that's okay. Oh, well, sorry. I don't punt all year. I don't punt all year.
Neither do I, really.
Gamble responsibly.
You're
500
responsibly
was
with your
good.
He told Claire
No.
$50.
Yeah.
You're in
Is that
stride.
why you're worried?
When you
Is
get
that
home,
why you're
that's-
worried? Oh, sorry.
There was
sorry,
no
Claire.
Chinese.
What race
Sorry.
was St
50,
George in on
50.
Cup Day? The
The 1800 listed, the fourth. Yeah,
We were out by the fourth on Cup Day.
And what about when Arim said, how are we going? And do you know what the response was? Well, if we didn't back Michael Hawks' tips and Johnny O'Neill's tips, we'd still have something left. You're a disgraceful punter with my money.
With
Maybe
your
Claire
money.
should go and have
You're
dinner
a
in
disgraceful
Sydney
punter with my money.
Yeah,
Brave.
I'm
And
guilty
then
of
what
that.
happened on Oaks Day? Oaks morning.
It's all a blur to me now. What mistakes did I make
Didn't you
there?
get no? You left me out. Didn't you get some bloke called McLaughlin?
Hamish McLaughlin's
What happened there?
first four
Tells
in
me
the Oaks.
after the Oaks.
Oh,
Duh,
yeah.
Good on you, mate.
Well done, Hamish.
Tell everyone
Put
what
it on
happened. So what happened?
He also puts 500 in with Hamish, so he's got plenty of
All right, no more.
Go
Something
away.
for the battlers coming up.
Good morning, Claire.
Country meets Caulfield for the CF4 Stakes. Group 1 racing and family fun. November 15. Tickets at Ticketek. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Saturday race 9, number 3, Grand Larceny.
Grand Larceny about 3/4 of a length in front and will win the last.
Salute to all of you across our weeks together in Something for the Battlers. You all gave us multiple winners. Well done. Grand Larceny rounded that out. Wayne, nice.
Thank you.
All right, have we got anything left?
I've got a horse going around Wednesday, actually. First starter at the midweekers, a horse called Misapprehend. Very, very nice Wootton Bassett filly that will be very hard to beat.
I've got a horse. My great mate Mickey Harvey bred this horse. Will be representing Australia in the New Zealand Trotting Cup there tomorrow afternoon at Addington. His name is Kingman, and he'll represent this country with pride, and he'll get the job done at $8.
Where was that?
That's at Addington, the New Zealand Trotting Cup, Kingman, tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. You shouldn't worry, Jared. You're out of money.
No, I won't. It's an academic exercise.
You're not getting 500 again, mate. I've stuffed that.
Come on, Wayne.
On Saturday, I've got a runner, and it'll run pretty good. It's owned by Michael, so he won't be happy I'm saying this. Spione in the 84 1400. He loves the sting out the ground, so let's get a bit of rain around Caulfield come Saturday.
Spione, beautiful. What was the best race of the spring?
Turnbull.
Yeah, Turnbull for me. Yeah.
Turnbull was
Turnbull for me.
It wasn't even a grand final race.
So what? They're the best horses.
Yeah, but it was a boring race.
Did you see the thing that come the outside that Jamie was swatting?
The best race
Just
was the
quietly,
Cox
we've had the
Plate.
Cox Plate winner out of it. We've had the champions,
different categories.
For the most entertaining
King Charles,
race.
King Charles.
Caulfield Cup, Melbourne Cup winner out of it.
Thanks for your spring racing means test. It was
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Hello there, I'm Nath Gardner with SEN News. AFL boss Andrew Dillon denies the finals wildcard round starting next year rewards mediocrity. Two teams will have the opportunity to play in elimination finals and the pre-finals bye weekend to determine the top 8. 8th will play 9th and 7th will take on 10th. There are tributes today from the PM and an Oscar-winning actor for one of Australia's most iconic voices, John Laws, who has passed away aged 90. His radio broadcasting career spanned over 70 years and only calling it quits less than a year ago. He was well known for his Valvoline oil commercials.
I like to change my cars, but I never change my oil. Well, I change my oil, but not my brand of oil, because I want real protection. You know what I mean? Valvoline.
Anthony Albanese says he was a thoughtful interviewer, and Russell Crowe calling him a mischievous mate and a very good friend. ANZ's profits have taken a hit, dropping 14% to $5.8 billion in the last financial year. It's after 3,500 jobs were axed and being fined by the corporate watchdog. New Zealand band Split Enz is stepping back into the spotlight, reforming for the first time in 16 years, announcing a run of Australian shows in May next year. And there's just 4 days until the Beach Volleyball World Championships being hosted in Adelaide. sen.com.au Sport is next. 2 Shield matches beginning today, with Victoria choosing to bat first in its match against New South Wales. Tess Quicks, Mitchell Stark, Josh Hazelwood and Scott Boland all to feature. And SA electing to bat first in its match against Tasmania. And thanks to Unibet, gamble responsibly. NFL's Week 10 continues with the Chargers hosting the Steelers starting soon.
live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. The means test continues on. Johnny O'Neill and Wayne Hawkes. Jared's had enough of us.
Yep.
He's
Might
off
be
to
back
talk to
next
Crash
year.
Craddock on 11:16. Let's get through all these text messages, and we love all of your input. Super Saturday in 2010 was the worst day on track. Hail like golf balls were coming down just after the Newmarket. Back wanted, then the next minute we were running to the car out of there. The storm was ridiculous. I remember that day.
Yeah, I do
Newmarket
too.
Day.
Yeah.
I won the race before the Newmarket, and then they called off after the Newmarket.
Yep.
Wanted won the Newmarket that day.
Hi, Gareth. I want to submit Ribera's worst performance of the week. Melbourne Cup Day, rookie error. The connections of Cup favourite Presage Nocturne allowed a photo of their horse to be on the front page of the Herald Sun with, who was with that? I think it was Titmus, wasn't it? The superstar swimmer. Front page on Cup Day is a death wish. Fiona from St Albans Park.
Do you know how many times that used to be the front page of the Sportsman and the front page of whatever, and it's just been the kiss of death for 1,000 years. Everyone just go, I'm just not doing it.
I tell you, a great trainer, Glenn Thompson, had a great win with that Whiskey on the Hill. Had no luck in the Country Cup lead up in a slowly run race. Geez, it was a great ride by Frosty, but really good for Tomo. He's as I said, he's a great bloke and a terrific trainer, and one of Mike Moroney's old horses. Yeah.
Johnny O'Neill, what happened with Sergeant Major going missing in Action Eagle Farm? Doesn't he deserve a court martial, or has he got excuses?
Yeah, look, I think that the challenge again when we're trying to tip these horses earlier in the week, that track got upgraded to a 2.
Yeah, there was 4 track records that day.
So, like, the horse needs sting out. We were sort of hoping for a 5, and he just jarred up. It was just too hard for him.
And that's not a square off for you, but that is genuinely the truth. You don't know the track conditions, you don't know the barrier, you don't know what's in the field. So it is not easy having a
stick
go
with
early.
him, though. He's a nice horse. He'll probably go the paddock now, I think, because he's jarred up. Have a bit of a break, and we'll bring him back and start again.
Could you believe that the weather everywhere on Saturday? My wife was in Hobart and said it was sunny. Now, fair dinkum, if Hobart's sunny, you're in trouble, aren't you?
A little stiff.
So Michael goes to Hawkesbury, my brother goes to Hawkesbury and saddles 2, and then he goes back to Rosehill for the last. He got in his car at Hawkesbury, right? It said 40 degrees on the dashboard. It was 33 and 34 and change, and then he went back to Rosehill and it was 32. I mean, you couldn't believe how bad a day it was at Flemington. It was just horrendous.
Surely the biggest yes of the week has to be bloggers. Great all carnival go Dons. That's from Postage Troy. Yeah. He was unbelievable, the racing blogger. He's such great fun. He's got a great appetite for the racing game. He's full of enthusiasm and, well done. He's off to New Zealand right now.
Oh, well, he's obviously not here because what about Gareth? Gareth lobs into the George on Collins Saturday night. Who's he with? The blogger.
Yeah, well, he had it.
He was with the blogger. No, hang on. I'm talking here, and I'm talking to you, Johnny. So he lobs in there with his girl. Hi, how you going? Everything. Blogger says, see you later, shakes everyone's hands. They were going off to the Osborne because they've got free tickets there. Never even said goodbye to me, Gareth. We're just chasing the blogger. If J-Mac was around, I'm not sure who the blogger would have kissed first. Who Gareth would have kissed first.
Were you holding hands Saturday night again? Because I tell you what, it was no good.
You know what? Because J-Mac went home.
J-Mac went home, and then you were holding hands with a new bride.
Vanessa Mrs. Bloggers is they built up a friendship with Demi, so my partner. So they all wanted to go.
Wow!
They all wanted to go to.
That's her name.
Is that her name?
Yeah,
You've now declared that openly, have you?
Yeah, they wanted to go.
You've changed.
I tell you what,
Demi.
Simon Lennox.
I thought she was married to Bruce Will.
Simon Lennox. That Osborne is something like I've never seen it humming like it was there on Saturday night.
I've never been.
I think Simon Lennox. I've never been invited either.
It was unbelievable. Benny Allen and the boys were like out of this world.
I think Simon Lennox does a really good job. It's a good pub.
Great.
It's a safe pub. You can have a heap of fun in it.
I'll tell you what, while we're just talking this, it was it Wednesday night? I went down to Lamaro's and I sat in the restaurant there with my wife and my friend Xavier. And the table next to us was about 10 people, was racing people. Then there was another table over the other side that racing people, and they were all from New South Wales. And I just thought to myself, what does this race week turn over for the state of Victoria? I mean, it's not just this week. It's the Spring Carnival. But when you look at just this week, Saturday night I did the first time ever jumped on the train from the back of the grandstand and went into Flinders Street, which was fantastic. The guy sitting next to me said, "Oh, I'm a former Victorian. I love listening to SEN Track." And I've just come down for Derby Day, call of the card, Melbourne Cup, and then I'm going home. The guy sitting opposite me said, I listen to SEN, da-da-da-da-da. I'm from Brisbane, and they just come down. So what it generates for our state, I know they'll give a figure and say there was 400 this and there was 1,000 shoes sold and 4,000 suits, but what it must have turned over for our state of Victoria is huge.
You know, word of mouth with Dimmer's Pub too, which is Lamaro's.
Good pub.
It's extraordinary because
Pub.
the food's fantastic.
How
He's
good's
a
the
big
food?
racing
How good's
guy
the food?
himself.
Because he races Nadal.
Yeah, he does.
He's in Nadal.
Yeah. But he's a big racing guy. He's involved in sponsorship and so the good thing about someone like him is he puts the money back in.
Yeah, he does.
And seriously, you go there and get a decent feed. You never get a bad feed there. It's fantastic.
It would hard to beat as far as a pub
Steak's
goes.
unbelievable.
It is ridiculous. No, I'll tell you
Schnitzels, you would have had the scallops.
The veal schnitzel is absolutely
they're very
Where
good.
I live
Very
is
good.
the best part of Melbourne, South Melbourne,
Right.
because I've got the Rising Sun in South
Very
Melbourne.
good pub.
Hey, the best porterhouse steak you'll ever
Very
have.
good pub.
And great racing pub. You got
Agreed.
Emerald. With
Very
Andy
good.
Lewis.
Andy Lewis, great
But then
pub.
you've got that Lamaro's. You got Ribera's just around the corner
It's
as
all
well.
happening
The
for
best
you.
seafood in Melbourne, so it doesn't get any better.
Well, Gareth goes there because he's done it with Demi now, so he's got to get.
So he's
everything.
gotta go.
Anyway,
And
we're
you know
going
what
to
he
get
has the only
Do you know what
four
he hasn't
places
done?
you take
You
it
haven't
to.
mentioned the Ascot Vale, Gareth.
Yeah, that's the
That's a
best
good
pub
pub
on the
too.
other side
That's a
of
very
town.
good pub too.
In northeast
It's a ripper.
Melbourne, there's no better pub.
It's a ripper. Does Demi getting those ice bars
Here
with
we
you?
go. Dean from WA said, came over with my wife and sons for Cup Weekend. Oasis, never more excited than going to Steaks Day. And the weather couldn't dampen what a great day it was. That's from Dean from WA.
Good on you, Dean.
Gareth, how good was this spring? It's sad that it's ending already. It's been one of the best on memory. Good to see the bookies get beat up thanks to a lot of SEN tipsters. Finally, Wayne Hawks tip 1 too. That's from Michael.
We actually didn't mention
That's
that either.
Michael, your
'cause-
brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We actually didn't mention either, but one of the great things was a stack of favourites won, and so many people actually said, I won. Now I know we've got to gamble responsibly, but it was so good to beat the agencies and the bookmakers, because what it does is it just puts a bit of confidence back. And I mean, there was hardly a negative on the whole spree. Look, we can always be negative and the oh-no's, but you know what? Racing's going good, and I reckon the best part about it is going to the Everest and then going to the carnivals at each of the different city tracks here in Melbourne. The younger kids are there, and it's not just because of Fisher and all that sort of stuff.
No.
It certainly helps, but the younger generation's coming through. And do you know what the thing is? We're getting away from this stigma that we're punting. It's a punting, because what happens is everybody bets on first goal. Everyone bets in the AFL, but the AFL doesn't have this stigma about it that's about punting, and the NRL about punting, whereas we do in our racing game, and it is not just all about punting.
100%.
I think we found a couple of cracking nice horses outside of the elite too.
Yes.
I think that Point Barrow was a huge win.
Yeah.
Terrific win
She's
for
good.
Anthony and Sam, very good. And the other horse that I thought was a terrific win was Sabage. It was a great ride.
Yep.
There was a query whether it would handle the wet. They scratched during the week. Terrific ride from Zara. And for the mix, terrific. Was great.
Just on that, we also said earlier in the year, have a look at these good horses coming through for spring carnivals. And I mean, there were some that just, what would Sir Delius have done? God,
Well,
we
we
don't even
don't
mention
know.
him. Then I know, but mate, he was probably had the most potential. And
What's
I mean,
the
there was so
process
many
with him
great
now?
horses.
He goes back and gets scanned again?
Well,
Is that what happens?
He'll
or-
have to get past because at the moment he's in the bar.
Well,
list.
yeah, he can go to New South Wales and race if he wants to race back in Victoria.
I don't think he can.
No, I don't know whether
I don't think he
know
can,
whether he
mate.
can. I think
Okay.
because normally I don't know this, but normally when you're barred, it's an international bar.
Is it?
Yeah.
We've got to get through these text messages. Hey, Hawksy, what did you make of a rating 78 horse in Bardo who had never seen a wet track going to a Group 1 and running into the champion Via Sistina, or running the champion Via Sistina to within a length and a half? Of course, I'm talking about Sembardo. It was a 78 rater.
Yeah, but what happens is when you're on a heavy deck, that's when those horses come into it. Because if Zambada didn't like a wet track, it would have got beaten a furlong and a half. So that's the advantage and the risk you take putting it in. I tell you what, they're not going to be happy with though. They're going to be terribly upset when the handicapper comes out today and whacks them for running a place behind the Australia's greatest
It's now a
racehorse.
benchmark 100 horse.
And that's the problem that you
Yeah,
face.
true.
You can roll the dice. Once you go out of your own bracket, the handicapper loves it.
It's a $540,000 for finishing second. So
100%. And the handicap, so they got it, but let me tell you, it's going to be rated 100 and and then so you say, well, is he going to get that chance again?
And sometimes those horses, that's the photo you put on the wall.
Sure.
Because they've now got to step up to open grade and they can't
Some
do
horses,
it.
Cox Plates at Kemba, Grange and a Maiden.
All right, we've got to run through these questions. We're not going to get through all of them, but
Keep going.
All right, here we go. I want to be quicker here, like quick hands. When you used to play football. A protest has been upheld in the past due to the whip rules on the Sunshine Coast, but it won't happen again, I don't reckon, unless they change the rules. Hi, Gareth. Agree it was a great carnival. However, the young people only go at this time of the year as the cost of alcohol is ridiculously expensive, unlike the MRC who have reduced prices to be more acceptable level.
Hang on. Who's it from?
That's from Mike from East Malvern.
Mike, have you ever been to the MCG? And you pay $37 for a beer and a bloody hot dog. Come on, everywhere we go today is
good hot dogs and the beer's
not
cold.
cheap.
It's good.
Yeah, but it's not cheap.
No,
it's not.
I'm all for the tall poppy, but Johnny, because the bookie gave me $2 for the best horse in the country, dead set fill up. That's from Damo. You're spot on, Wayne. She won't be the best broodmare as stats suggest. That's talking about Via Sistina. How did Charlwolf keep the race with the jockey breaching the whip rule? Clearly, if he didn't, Pericles wins. Jared, you're big on the whip rule, but we just explained, Jono, that it's difficult to uphold a protest.
All you can do is change the rules.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with Jared. I think you either do it or you don't.
It also, if it happens at a midweek at Geelong, it's not as noticeable as what it is in the
What happens when a horse wins by 5 lengths, but when one whip strike over before the 100 boys? Would it be incredibly hard to cop that as an owner/punter? It would.
Yes, but Jared's point was that if it happens and you wouldn't start at Melbourne Cup Week, you'd actually start it now, let's say, and they just wouldn't do it. It's as simple as that. Because it's a bit like in AFL. If old mate is allowed to run 15 metres or 30 metres and he has a bounce, and then it's holding the ball because he ran too far.
Yeah.
Same principle.
Hi, guys. Hawks talking up.
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys. Hawks talking up V, saying she's only had 29 starts. Why wouldn't she race on? Next spring, she's a 35-year-old footballer. Turn it up, Hawks. Can't have it both ways.
I didn't mean a lot of that. I'm saying that she is of age, but why wouldn't if she was mine, I'd run her.
Yeah.
If she was sound and right, I would run her. My point was, but she is 35, so when is she going to stop? Because these horses can't keep going forever. Jenny's at the end. What's his name? Brightside's at the end. They're at the end of their career, and Via Sistina may well be, but she hasn't been overtaxed, is my point. She hasn't had 1,000.
Yep.
She's not like a taxi, had 600,000 on the.
I've got a couple more minutes left. Why pander to those that contribute nothing to the industry? Whip use should be unlimited over the last 200. Why not look after the contributors and funders of the industry? This should override perception. That's from Matt.
Yeah, look, I think at the end of the day, there's got to be welfare around the horses.
And
I
a
agree
balance,
with that. So I think there needs to be the right balance there. There's no doubt, as you said, Hawksy, we can't get rid of the whips because at the end of the day, they enable the jockeys in some instances to control the horses, right? To make sure the steering is right. So
that's what it
So
is.
at the end of the day, we need to do it. But again, this is going to come up over and over again. If horses that really need to be revved up, and clearly that's what She-Wolf did in this instance, to win the race, if that continues to happen, this is going to be debated non-stop.
Darren Beedman, one of the greatest ever. No one will dispute that. He's one of the GOATs. He said Octagonal wouldn't have won half the races he won for the older generation listening with the new whip. Simple.
Can someone explain why the CF4 Stakes is on Saturday and not in the autumn?
Because you've got the CF4 Futurity, you've got all those races together, and they're back to back, and one or two of them just got a bit lost, so they've just done something different, trying to bring it around. And look at the two headline acts they've got for Saturday. So arguably, it's a winner. It's going to work.
I've heard a couple of people say, well, stop changing this pattern around. Like, we don't know the CF4. Like, it's hard to work out if the CF4 Stakes the same race now when history tells you on the page because it's moved from February.
And that's
to,
different. Yeah, but
I agree with they had to move it.
I reckon the Spring Champion was in the autumn in Sydney back in the 60s. I mean, we do move things around and change things around. So...
Yeah,
I am much happier with 1,000 guineas being back where it was. Though.
Yeah, I agree.
Much
Better.
The girls and the boys got to run.
Yeah,
it got lost.
They got a $1 million 1,200 metre fillies race now on Saturday. They got the Guineas on Saturday, plus they've got these CF4 Stakes where you get Jimmy and Angel Capital. Now,
so the Guineas that we're talking about, the Sandown Guineas, there are we?
Yeah.
Sandown Guineas.
But it's going to be run at Caulfield.
And please take that midweek away between Caulfield Guineas and Caulfield Cup. We don't need that race day anymore.
The interview with the blogger did with Chris Waller was awesome at the stable, describing the colour around her eyes indicated she was ready to peak on Champions Day. Something.
Who said that?
One of our listeners. Something many of us would know to
what
look.
What they saying about her eyes?
the eyes. She like Chris Waller was exploding her eye. Yeah, yep.
Eye of the tiger.
One of the best reasons punters love Via Sustain is because we have the ability to back her too. Her last winning SPs are $1.80, $2.25, $2.82. And the sensational performance for the week and the winner of the Ribera's $100 voucher goes to Dave. My sensational performance for the week is a dead heat. Clayton Douglas jumping in the rain while watching his star Giga Kick tough it out to win the champion sprint. And you for finding out Giga Kick is going to Perth for the Gold Rush when his odds are $11. Well done, Dave. Hey, boys, great stuff. Good luck with Jimmy Starr on
Thank
Saturday.
You, mate. Yeah, let's hope he gets around safe. And he had a little squirt round this morning. So
He looked
Ethan
amazing.
texted me. Yeah, he went terrific. So Amelia was out there with her bag of carrots.
I'll be in New
dropping
Zealand.
them in, so that was good.
I'll be in New Zealand doing the show live next week, so I'll catch up with you there, lads.
Right.
Fantastic. You're down there.
Last time I was in New Zealand doing that show, remember
Don't
I
talk to
said
me about that
with
Ready to
Sam
Run
Beats
horse.
and he goes, we've got a horse, he's bought him Bassett. I'll keep a quarter of it. You boys should team up and we should go together. And we tried to talk to you in on air.
What's it called again?
Oh, it's racing racing tomorrow or something. Yeah.
All right.
Are you down for Ready to Run, Talksy?
He's being a smart ass, Johnny.
I know.
I don't know. Hear
Wooden
me out.
Bassett.
Hear me out. How many shares did you buy, Gareth? Zero.
No, because I backed
Zero.
my trainers
Thank
and my
you.
fellow owners.
No. Zero.
Are you going down?
No.
Ready to Run? No. Okay.
Well, I'll buy you a couple, and we'll call it Giddy Up Wayne or something
Giddy
like
Up
that.
Wayne.
No, Giddy Up. No, Giddy Up Wolf.
Gareth.
Giddy Up Wolf.
Wolf.
Yeah.
Can I have a-
Wolfie or
can I have a-
Howler.
can I-
Howler.
can I
What
have
if
a
we
wolf?
get
Giddy up
one
Howler.
Howler?
How does a wolf go, the cheer?
On that note, have a wonderful day.
Yeah,
See
all
you
the
guys.
best. See
We'll
ya.
take a break. We'll come back with plenty more next. This is Giddy Up.
Country meets Caulfield for the CF4 Stakes. Group 1 racing and family fun. November 15. Tickets at Ticketek. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back. This is Giddy Up, all thanks to Bet365 on this beautiful Monday morning. Surely Tague's braving the weather to see Whiskey on Hill win was a highlight. Love the footies there. Really did look like he was a kid on a family day and being escorted. That's from John. The AC Derby was once in the spring. Things change sometimes for the better. Thanks, Wayne. Octagon was my favourite horse growing up. I'm now 46 years of age, and you just put me into an older generation. Sad day for me. What happened to Giga kicking the CF4? Well, it was that heavy track, and he just after he pulled up, obviously coming off of that heavy track performance, Clayton didn't want to risk him, so that's why he's out of the CF4 Stakes. 11:26, let's take the news.
Good morning. Making SEN News headlines. AFL boss Andrew Dillon says he's received positive feedback from the clubs for the finals wildcard weekend. It will start from next year. John Laws is being remembered for his stellar broadcasting career that lasted over 70 years after his death at his Sydney home, aged 90. A WA-made concussion helmet will be tested on pro athletes in a major upcoming research trial, with the AFL, NRL and Cricket Australia showing interest. And research has found a daily cup of coffee could help those with an irregular heartbeat. Coming up, sen.com.au sport. 2 Shield matches beginning today, with Victoria choosing to bat first in its match against New South Wales. Tess Quicks, Mitchell Starc, Josh Hazelwood and Scott Boland all to feature. And SA electing to bat first in its match against Tasmania. And thanks to Unibet, gamble responsibly. NFL's Week 10 continues, with the Chargers hosting the Steelers starting soon.
Country meets Caulfield for the CF4 Stakes. Group 1 racing and family fun. November 15. Tickets at Ticketek. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Let's break down the meeting at Eagle Farm, and a man that just dominated it from a tipping perspective was Chris Nelson. He had an absolute fill-up there on Saturday, and the great man joins us here. Chris, well done on the weekend.
Thanks, Gareth. Yeah, it was a good day. I think it had a lot to do with the condition of the track.
Yep.
I mean, when we get to a firm 2 surface, the form generally stacks up, and horses up on speed generally have the best chances. And that was the case on Saturday at Eagle Farm. I think we broke 4 track records. So one of those over the same distance twice. So there you go.
I could have run 100 metres in 9.9 seconds, how quick that track was there at Eagle Farm on Saturday. What are the horses that we need to be following from that meeting?
I still would have been a couple of lengths behind you too, by the way, Gareth. Now, there is a few there. Race number 3. Horse by the name of First Mission for Kelly Schweida, I thought would lead, and I think many of us thought would lead, but they didn't. They sat 4 lengths off the leader, who won, of course, yet First Mission was making very good ground on the line, so I think can win up next start in a similar type race. Race 3, First Mission. Go to race number 8. Now, the first 2 across the line here, Margot's Deal and Think Hard and Fast. Margot's Deal won. She's very promising. She did a good job here against the tempo to make ground and against the conditions on the day. So she hadn't raced for something like 5 weeks. So stick with her. and Think Hard and Fast didn't get the best of runs in the straight, didn't have the clearest of runs, did protest unsuccessfully, but the effort was still good, and there's a win around the corner for Think Hard and Fast.
Yep.
And just go back to race 5, I missed one there. Cosmo Centaurus, he was dropping back from 11.10 to the 1,000. He ran well, but he just wasn't suited with that drop back in distance. Look for him over 1,200 next time around.
I thought he was disappointing when I looked at him there on Saturday, Cosmo, but when you just break it all down, he was pretty good under the circumstances. I reckon they would have walked away disappointed once they just assessed the situation there from Saturday. He hasn't gone too bad, that horse.
No, not at all. He was in a 1,200-metre race later in the day, but he drew a wide gate. So they elected to go around here, and I don't think anyone... he would have been a lot shorter had it been 1,200 metres. So stick with him, Cosmo. He was quite good. And, of course, special mention to Grafter Burners, who resumed with a good win in race number 7 and led, which was very surprising, but well done to all there. We'll see him over the summer competing in some of the better races.
And a special mention to Corey Muntz. He never misses on Giddy Up Stable Mail, $100 staking plan. He's gone bang, bang again. So he's had a wonderful time of it, so he should be happy.
Yeah, the horse tried to throw it away late. He ran out in the straight near the line, but Daniel Moore got the best out of him and continues on a really good run. So well done to all there. And he's doing a really good job, Corey Muntz. And I've heard him on your show, Gareth. We've had him on the Punters Mate as well. Really good guy to talk to, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%. He speaks well. He's a great ambassador for the game, and they're having so much success, the Muntz camp, especially over the last month. So, they're going great guns. Well, the carnival's just around the corner, basically, the summer carnival, Chriso. So it's about to heat up in your part of the world. So we look forward to that, but we appreciate your time as always, mate.
That's a pleasure, Gareth. We'll chat later in the week.
Good on you. There's Chris Nelson there, thanks to Racing Queensland. And Mitchy Lewis joins us to preview or review this card on the Parks track at Morphettville on Saturday. Hello to you, Mitch.
Morning, G.
It's a pretty good day for the punters.
Yeah, and look, it was pretty, it flies under the radar a little bit, G, but we're 2 weeks until the series finals day at Morphettville, where if you go through some of these races on Saturday, they sort of vie for points, some of these horses, and there's all sorts of various heats. So they're sneaky good racing at the minute. And having a look at that finals day, it could prove a nice little card in 2 weeks' time.
Horses that we need to be following?
Yeah, so race 2, G, we found horse number 12, Skadoosh.
Yeah.
She comes out of some really good form lines. Horses like Virtual Illusion and Snow Mercy, you remember that one at the Valley a little while ago. So she was the fastest closer of the day. I just went and had a look. I think she's got enough points to get herself a start probably in the Rebel Raider series, and some of those other horses at the top of that point system might not make it to that race. So if she can back up that performance, looks a really good chance in a couple of weeks' time. But I thought the horse in behind her, Street Legal, he's got to break through for a maiden sometime. He showed good improvements. I'll be following him in his next start as well.
Yep. Anything else?
Yeah, so again, we'll turn our attention to these heats. I think Hose and Water out of race 7 and Headphones, they get enough points to make a start in their... I've just got all the heats in front of me, sorry, G, the finals. They will be in the... I'm pretty sure that was the Happy Trials.
Happy Trial,
heats.
Yep.
Yep. And then in the last, Super Alana G, she's pivoted. So this was the Resiz. She goes down in class, and shout out to Isaac Sitz. First Metro ride for him. She was, I thought, there or thereabouts, and what'll be a strong G-Tra series heat. But now I think she's got the points for that Resiz. She probably, if she runs up to that, I think she'll be the horse to beat in there. She looks a class above coming out of some listed level races. So she's probably got two options, but if she goes to the Resiz in 2 weeks, I'll back her in that race.
Beautiful, mate. Thanks for that, Mitchy boy. Looking forward to that finals day in a couple of weeks' time.
Nat, there's some more heats on Saturday, G, but it's shaping to be a really good one. There's some good horses, got some quality points there, so touch on it in a couple of weeks.
Good on you, Mitchy. Thanks, mate.
See you, mate.
Visit loveracing.nz for all you need to know about the sport of thoroughbred racing. And what about this for a performance in 1,000 guineas there in New Zealand on the weekend?
Well Written's now presented for its run. She's been popped the question by Matt Cartwright. She strode up and hit the front of the 200 metres. Well Written edged away by 2.5 or 3 lengths on Lollapalooza, but it's Well Written, a flawless story. Well Written, the jewel in the Guineas crown. What a filly she is. Well Written by 3 lengths beats Lollapalooza.
In any code, she could be the biggest superstar that graces the turf there in the Southern Island in Christchurch this week. Well written. Mark Clayton joins us thanks to loveracing.nz. Clado, what a performance, and she is very, very good.
Oh, no, just got me all tingling again, Gareth, and here's on the back of your neck standing up because she is something special, and we sort of identified her after that maiden win. She beat a really good field at Ellerslie, and that form out of that's exceptional, and then she blew them off the park in the soliloquy, and yeah, she's just franked that form. She's pretty special, all right.
Yeah, I wonder what they do with her now. There's talk that there's probably going to be a slot for her in the Kiwi next autumn as well, and there's obviously Millions Day in January, so there's plenty of options for her.
There is, yeah. I think they're aiming towards the Kiwi, and look, she's just got length on them at the moment, hasn't she? And she's beat up a pretty good bunch of three-year-old fillies this season. In fact, steered Tajana off into the boys' race, the 2,000 guineas next Saturday. But look at the horses running behind. Lollapalooza and Belchevelle. She's another one who looks to be the goods. But yeah, Lollapalooza with the form on the board too. But she just run away and hid. And great move for Matt Cartwright. He's picked up the second Group 1 in New Zealand.
Yeah, he's flying, isn't he, Matty Cartwright? Captured by Love, too good in the Group 3 Canterbury Stakes.
Yeah, well, our former 1,000 guineas winner, and boy, you could have thrown your tickets away mid-race. She was caught 3 wide, and she was stuck there. She wasn't getting in, and she turned for home, and she had the audacity to go up and challenge, and she just kept fighting it, and it was good to see her back because there's been a couple of little question marks about a couple of her performances, but when they win like that, Gareth, you know they're back big time.
And good to see another Victorian, a young kid, Logan Bates, doing really well. It was a special day for the family, wasn't it?
It was with Mum, Kylie. One of her goals was to ride the 1,000 winners in New Zealand. Then she wanted to ride 1,000 in the South Island. She's done that. And her other dream was to ride against her son, Logan. And Kylie, she rides a winner on the program. But this young man, what does he do? He goes and rides 2.
Yeah.
Hey, look, kudos to the young man. He came over, he appeared on the mail run in the morning to go through his book of rides. He knew all about his rides inside and out, and he knew all the form around the dangers and the competitors. So, man, he wasn't here just to make up the numbers, and he showed that with a couple of wins, and just a special moment, you know. So don't often get to do that, and what an impressive young man he is.
No, totally agree. Good on you, Clado. Bring on this week, mate. It's going to be one hell of a week there in Christchurch.
Oh, there's one hell of a week, middle day to go, and then, of course, Cup Day next Saturday, and just Charlie. He's the one to beat in the Cup after Logan guided him to victory in the Metropolitan, the main lead-up. So all roads lead to Riccarton.
Good on you, Clado. We'll see you there in New Zealand, mate.
Thanks, Gareth. Looking forward to it.
There's Mark Clayton there. Georgie Farrugia joins us. What a night of greyhound racing there on Saturday night. Georgie, hello to you.
G'day, Gareth. How are you, mate?
What was your highlight on Top Gun night?
I think it was Without a Trace.
Yes.
I think she really announced herself, Gareth. Like she had won the Sydney Cup in her last preparation, and her overall time was something that we haven't seen at Wentworth Park in a few years, like almost Tornado Tears like. And when she jumped to the front, Gareth, and was getting chased, I thought, yeah, she's going to kick away here. Again, I know the record is under 42 seconds at the Meadows, but she went 42.26. They've been winning group races there, Gareth, in 42.60. Like she's a really, really special animal who's got the right traits and habits, jumps to the front when she can, and then just outstays them. She's an absolute star. The emotion showed by the Prosciutto family was amazing on course. I think we captured that well on racing.com, and that was the highlight for me.
Yeah, great coverage there on Saturday night on racing.com. And Slick Splits, you wanted him in the Top Gun. He got a start, and away he went to take out the Group 1 for the sprinters, defeating Ariza Sparkles and Mally Beauty.
You know, Gareth, when we were on air, he was still shopping at around $12 or $13.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe the price of this greyhound. And when he drew box 4, he had 3 good beginners on his inside, but he does like to use a bit of the track. It was the perfect box draw for him. When Deadly Avenger came out, I was even more confident because Deadly Avenger, even though we haven't seen the best of him, he's got a good first split. When he came out and was replaced by Jungle Johnny, whose first split's probably the worst of his racing pattern, I couldn't believe the price. And look, when he lobbed up to Ariza Sparkles, and we've got to put our hand up for her too, Gareth. I mean, she's really emerging. Her run was fantastic, but Slick Splits, the owners came on racing.com and said, we hope we get looked at the Phoenix, and you'd have to say right now, pound for pound, he's probably one of the better greyhounds available, Gareth, because as you well know, as the Phoenix works, if you're not first picked in one of those greyhounds that likes to be drawn close to the fence, your chances start to diminish. This greyhound, if he drew box 5 and 6 in a Phoenix, would still be a very, very live chance. So I think he's going to be snapped up by someone. It did not stop raining for 24 hours. For him to run 29.75, I think was very, very good. So Team Daly come to the fore again.
And the Hume Cup was an interesting race. It was an interesting series at the end of the day, and accredited for Ned McDonald, Too Strong, over Shadows of Blue. Urana Xavier back in third.
Yeah, a fair bloodline on Ned McDonald. His dad, the great Darren McDonald. I mean, just trained Group 1 winners for fun.
Yeah.
He was on track, seen him there. But Ned, he was a little bit shocked, Ned. I mean, he's a young kid, was really wrapped for him. Broke the sectional record, Gareth. It was 8.78. He went 8.74. All the talk about where these dogs were going to land in terms of early speed, 5, 6, and 7 had speed. They were no match for him, accredited. He was a brilliant winner. Shadows of Blue running second. Urana Xavier off the red box getting third. But it's nice to see the younger generation get some group glory, and Ned McDonald was certainly that on Saturday night.
Catch up with you on Wednesday with Jason Adams for the weekly chase, Georgie.
Do you want a couple of tips today, mate?
Yeah, that'll be that'll be okay. Yeah, I won't.
Sandown Dogs.
Yep.
Race 6, number 5, Zorro De Vere, I think will be winning. And there's one that I own, mate, that I think will be hard to beat. Race 10, number 2, Valenzuela. Drawn well. We're really happy with where it's drawn, and I think it's a bit of a drop in class for him. So race 6, number 5, race 10, number 2 at Sandown tonight.
Race 6, number 5, race 10, number 2. That'll do us. Thanks, mate.
No worries, mate.
There's Georgie Ferrugia there. Sack Tunbridge from Bet365 to wrap up Giddy Up on this Monday.
Country meets Caulfield for the CF4 Stakes. Group 1 racing and family fun. November 15. Tickets at Ticketek. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back. Giddy up with Gareth Hall, 11:47. Zach Tunbridge from Bet365 joins me in the studio. Welcome back to Melbourne, Zach.
Thank you, G. Very cold down here to Sydney.
Yep. How's the bookmakers and the traders going at the moment with Bet365? Because it has been the punter's spring.
Yeah, they've been having a great time, the punters, which is good for me as I'm not part of the bookmaking team, which is makes me feel okay. But often I get a message every now and then saying any danger of a favourite losing. So there's a lot of ones that were really popular on the weekend. They definitely came for Mr. Brightside, but they also hammered Giga Kick. Gee whiz. Yeah. So that was a cracking win.
So the 6-horse challenge, 3 customers got 5 out of 6. So they all won, $8,333.
So that was you, wasn't it?
No, I missed out. But I had Giga Kick. I had I had Brightside.
Yeah.
I had Via Sistina. I didn't have Grand Larceny. I didn't have Arctic Glamour. And I definitely wouldn't have had Vivier.
Yeah. Well, look, this is a no-brainer. I know we say it a lot on the show. We've actually been getting the biggest numbers we have been so far, so you're doing a good job pushing it on a Friday. But if you are a customer, it's a no-brainer, right? 100%. You can follow this throughout the day. It was $100,000 up for grabs. 3 of them got 5. 100 people got 4. So they got just under $100 put in their account. This is all put in there. But yeah, like you said, I don't think anyone, or maybe they did. Arctic Glamour at 50s just led the whole way at Rose Hill and saluted. But it's a no-brainer. If you're a customer, you should be doing it every Saturday.
And it's a free way to play.
Yep.
So you're a customer, as I said, you log in. I think it comes up on Friday or Thursday. You usually get an email anyway, so you can click on it.
Yeah, you'll get a pop-up and stuff as well. But to be honest, just do it after scratchings. Because you don't want to do it a day or two before. Just do it any time before the first leg.
Now, we're getting terrific value with the Bet365 traders regarding our Macca's Run weekend preview multi, but we keep on missing out. And once again, it was disappointing on the weekend. Like Nadal, 10 into 5s, unplaced, never went a yard on a soft track.
Tough.
And then Mr. Brightside puts in, I think it's nearly his worst career run, Mr. Brightside. Like it was just Mr. Brightside-like, unfortunately.
Yeah, and to be honest, we say it as well, you guys push it, but the odds you're getting on that, as soon as we go up, we went up $11.50 or something. If you look around the others, you're getting about $5 something. We got huge numbers on it on the weekends, biggest, but we just need the boys to lift, actually.
Yeah, 100%. Well, you can have a talk to them. I've tried to. I don't know if I just take responsibility and pick all 4, and so it lands with me. But at the end of the day, like I think it was Mickey Gannon and Benny Calusi that missed out. But at the end of the day, I would have picked Mr. Brightside, and I probably would have picked Nadal.
Right.
So
does that mean Dino had tuned?
Yes, he
did. That was
a
good bet. That got hammered with us.
Yeah.
And then ended up winning. So that's a good tip.
And Mickey Gannon was all over tuned as well. They reckon it was a grouse bet there on Saturday, and away it went. Hey, I'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll chat about the big movers on Saturday, and we'll get your highlight as well for the carnival.
Country meets Caulfield for the CF4 Stakes. Group 1 racing and family fun. November 15. Tickets at Ticketek. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Zach Tunbridge joining me from Bet365. Zach, what was the highlight of the carnival for you?
I think Via in Melbourne for sure. I just love that story. Looking back, last couple of weeks, I guess Ka Ying I was there on Everest Day. Loved that. That was huge. But one of my favourites, especially for the show, mate, was you having Tony G on last week. He has been a hero of mine. I remember.
Has he?
Well,
you should have been in here.
I was devastated. When I messaged you and said, you should get him on, you said, I've got him on tomorrow.
Yeah.
I've been watching him for 20 years. I know his story back to front. I know he loves racing. He's always been talking about it. And I'm a big poker fan, so I've been watching that for a long time. So I was very jealous.
He says he would come on anytime we want. And he goes, he'd love to get on a regular basis, even getting younger people into the game as well. So I reckon we'll try and do that.
And if anyone hasn't actually done it, do yourself a favor and just look up some of his YouTube clips.
Yeah.
You can see them from 20 years ago, where he was a young tacker playing huge amounts of pots, like in the millions of dollars. He is the biggest character. He's very charismatic.
And I watched a few of his YouTube videos before and after because you sent me a couple through.
Yeah.
The Phil who was talking about the champion,
Phil Hellmuth,
he says like he doesn't talk to him still.
Yeah.
And then I worked out why he doesn't talk to him. He completely bamboozles poor old Phil.
Yeah, he's the poker brat, they call him, Phil Hellmuth. But I think the one that he's talking about, he had a hand where he said he hadn't looked at his cards. So Phil went all in, and then Tony just called straight away and said, of course I looked at my cards.
So from me, and he was great fun, and he loves a pun, etc.
Exactly, you're right.
What about I'm always fascinated this, was Melbourne Cup.
Yep.
Like, it's the biggest turnover day, clearly, in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Did you win on the Cup or not? We don't know.
Don't know.
No, I think because it's interesting.
Well, it's hard when a favourite wins, but talking about a favourite being $758 or whatever, it's still $758. Do you know what I mean? It's not a $2 favourite going around.
Because you listen to something like Pride of Penzance was one of the worst results. Even like Night Choice was a bad result for the bookies because of
people that back it.
Correct.
Yes.
Via Sistina and Giga Kick, the roar of the crowd there on Saturday was something else. And you know why? When you have a look at your review sheet, they both were heavily supported.
Yes, they were. Yeah. Weather-wise, were you there on the weekend?
Yeah, worst day ever.
As far as what I keep getting told, the worst. But yeah, so Giga Kick, I'm sure the roar was huge. It's so cool seeing it win again. Magic Time was that close.
Yeah.
But very supported now for the winner bottom though. $6 into $3.75. They snapped that up and now it's $2.80.
Gold Rush, it was $11.
Yeah.
Into, he's no bright side now. Be close to $2, I reckon.
Yeah. Yeah, cracker. I mean, and Jolly Star was third? But yeah, Giga Kick, they came for it late. Really cool. Zara flying.
Jimmy Star v Angel Capital in the CF4 Stakes.
Yeah.
Jimmy will start favourite, but not by much, I don't reckon.
No, I think he'll definitely start favourite. He's a bit of a punter's favourite, I think. But he was always also enormous, right? So, yeah, who do you think?
I reckon Jimmy beats him small field with that turn of foot. Yeah, but it's going to be I love the Perth Carnival. We'll have the Hong Kong markets coming up shortly. We just don't know who's going to arrive. So it never stops. We know Gringotts is going to the Gong, so we know that much. He'll carry 60 kilos, so bring that on. Thanks for that, Zachy.
Beautiful. Thank you, G.
Welcome back to Melbourne.
Thank you, mate. I'll bring a jacket next time.
Yeah, and we'll get Tony G on. We'll do we
I'll
should do a
fly
regular
down.
segment like punting, poker, and the stock market, because the stock market's a firm of punting. He's very good at that.
He gave a few tips on that, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know what he was talking about, but anyway.
I took a screenshot.
Yeah. Thanks, Fate.
Thank you.
That's Giddy Up. Thanks for your company. We'll catch up with you tomorrow.
I'm Amy True with SEN News.